If yesterday was a challenge and today is a battle, tomorrow will be an incredible experience. A very good evening to you and a very happy new year to all our viewers who are joining us this evening on Face the Nation. All the very best for 2025. It has been quite a ride as far as 2024 is concerned. So we've invited 4 guests to our studios to join us this evening and talk to us about 2024 as well as the year 2025. So joining us this evening on the show are Lakmali Hemachandra, Member of Parliament, National People's Power, Neomal Perera representing the SJB, Barath Arullsamy representing the DPF, he's the Vice President of the party, as well as Dimitra Abeysekara representing the LSSP. He contested the last election via the SLPP ticket. To join us momentarily on the show tonight is Nuwan Bopage from the People's Struggle Alliance. So let's get the ball rolling today with Lakmali Hemachandra. Before that, you too can join in as far as the conversation is concerned. The number to send in your messages is via WhatsApp 076 656 5353. The number once again 076 656 5353. To pose questions from our panelists this evening, on to my immediate right is Shihar Anis, as well as on to my immediate left is Thambi, Consultant Director at Newsfirst. Shihar is an independent journalist who's joining us this evening on Face the Nation. So let's get the ball rolling today with Lakmali Hemachandra from the National People's Power. She's a Member of Parliament. Lakmali had a very luxurious Christmas this time, had rice, had a very good coconut sambal as well. On top of that, it was quite a meal because
on Christmas
Day, because it's very luxurious, very difficult to find these days. In terms of your promises and pledges and then expectations, what really went wrong in the last 3 months versus what should be expected on the ground as far as what you are promised at political fora prior to the presidential as well as general elections?
I don't think anything has gone wrong, in my opinion, because we have been in power for just 3 months, and large part of that, this is December, 1st of January, and large part of that time was spent under a cabinet of 3 ministers, and then the general election happened, and now we have a new cabinet and a stronger cabinet actually, with more people to oversee everything. And I think we have been able to take control of the government and implement our program slowly without creating major disruptions in terms of creating major disruptions in the sense without creating major uncertainties for people and creating, there was chaos expected when PP was coming into power. We managed to tackle that sentiment and bring sort of stability and that into the country. And I think we have, on my part, there's nothing that has been disappointing for us. It's just that there has been challenges, as you said. There have been challenges that right after we came into power, there was the floods, and then there was a security threat at Arullsamy, and then the shortages. There were shortages across the country in terms of rice and coconut. So we have been tackling these issues gradually and trying to resolve them. And
I thought for the benefit of our viewers, Lakmali, let's break down the promises that you all made at election fora at many podiums. The first is the pay tax that was supposed to go up from 100,000 to 200,000 threshold was half a cut at 150,000. And we've had individuals in the caliber of Chaturanga Singh who came on the show and said that even the spread between 500,000 750,000 would be evident. That did not happen. Today we saw the manner in which how fuel prices came into play. Only kerosene prices were reduced. Then what happened to the commissions that you all said was swindled by the then minister in charge, because you all said that the prices would be brought down drastically. Then electricity tariffs, you all said this will be reduced by 1/3 when you are coming to power. Nothing has.
So look,
really
we have been in power for just 3 months, and all of those things that you have been saying in terms of the pay tax, we said that it can be reduced, and we did increase the tax threshold, and there were changes made in the tax rates as well.
But technically, Lakmali, if you look at the numbers, for those who are earning approximately, who are paying 36% tax, ultimately they will only save 20,500 rupees by this tax that you all have brought into play. 20,500 is not even enough for you to go out and do a round of shopping.
Yeah. To do our own shopping.
To do our own shopping.
So have
you gone and checked the vegetable prices?
No, I mean, look, so we have only been in power for 3 months, like I said, right? And our budget is coming, and we are going to make these changes. This was the first round of tax relief, and there'll be further negotiations with the IMF, and this will come down. Other problems that you said in terms of electricity tariff, that is being tackled. There is a huge crisis in the electricity board. The way during the past 10 years, there haven't been any new major plants. So we have to create new energy plants. We are trying to amend the electricity bill as well. So we are. That's why I said, like, slowly, gradually, we are trying to deliver on the promises we made.
But don't you think you all are making some very big mistakes when it comes to the country's economy? We've had individuals last week, just 2 weeks prior. Last week we did not have the show, but 2 weeks prior we had economists joining us on the show. And they said putting a control price or a maximum retail price on any essential goods is just going to go in the wrong direction as far as the government is concerned. Because we've seen this happen.
But that is an ideological position, no? That is a completely ideological position in terms of price controls.
Yeah.
Because when scarcity is there, see, in terms of the number of players we have.
Fish, for an example, you all have imposed a maximum retail price.
But you can sell under that price. If there is enough competition in the country, the prices won't go up to the control price. That this is not the price that the government is setting as a mandatory price.
It's not available. That's the problem.
Salmon is not available. Canned fish is not available. I think it is available. I was at the supermarket just yesterday. There was plenty of canned fish.
I was in the supermarket just a couple of hours ago before I came to the show.
I think canned fish is there. I don't think there's a canned fish shortage in the country. There's a rice shortage in the country. It is not because of a control price. I think this position against price controls is completely ideological.
Right. So
because the problem with the rice market is productivity and the unorganized nature of the market itself. It has nothing to do with the price controls. In terms of goods like food, right? In terms of goods like food, you need controls. You need price controls. Otherwise, there are few players in the market who can actually you can increase the prices to a level that people can't buy.
Very quickly, Lakmali, before I move to Neomal, tell us what are the expectations of your government this year, 2025? What do you all have in cards, under your sleeves? Because the budget is coming up. This is going to be very, very crucial for the people of the country. How do you view 2025 to pan out to be as far as this is concerned?
So we have 3 major projects going on at the moment. First one is rural development, right? Because I think economic inclusion of the rural people is very important to keep the economy going. During the past few years, what has happened is there has been concentration of wealth among few people in urban centers. So if you look at the census data about who is actually contributing to the economy, you can see that outside of the Western province and especially Colombo, there is very little contribution, which means there is not a lot of money flowing into these areas as well. So one of the major projects that we have is to make sure that there is economic activity and economic inclusion in terms of areas outside of especially Colombo and the Western province. So there will be projects to make sure that there is agricultural development and small and medium enterprises development, and especially women's inclusion into the economy. These are the things that budget is aiming at. I think specific proposals will be shared next month when the budget is presented, but this is the area that we are focusing: women's inclusion, rural inclusion into the economy, and also digitization of the economy. This is one of the major projects that the government is trying to this is like one of the major flagship projects of the government, digitizing public services especially, and making sure that public services are efficient and the economy itself is upgraded from the situation, the status that it is in right now. So
very quickly, Lakmali, you said that digitizing the country's economy is on the list of priorities as far as the government is concerned. What about restructuring the CEB, because this has been a very contentious issue as far as the government is concerned?
Shamir, our position on the CEB is very clear. We want to, that's what I said, this electricity tariff is connected to the structure of the CEB and how it is run and the profitability of CEB at the moment, right? At the moment, the government is investing all the profit we have into bringing down the prices of electricity. And the restructuring is required.
But you're very well aware the CEB is making billions of rupees in profits right now.
Profits are being made, but that profit is not enough to bring down the prices for the next 6 months. That was the problem we faced, because for the next 6 months the cost is going to go up.
Yeah, but this is not what you all promised at the election podiums. You all said that this is going to be brought down by 1/3.
Yeah, it is going to be brought down by 1/3.
By when?
It is going to be brought down by 1/3. Not 2030. It's not going to take. This is why CEB restructuring is very important. CEB has to be made into a sustainable institution and a profitable institution.
But restructuring is not on the cards now.
There is restructuring. There will be restructuring, but there will be no privatization of CEB. Right? The governance and efficiency of the CEB has to go up, and there has to be sustainable energy component increased in the CEB.
For the critics who are watching the show tonight, they are saying that Arullsamy Dissanayake is going on the footprint of Ranil Wickremesinghe.
Yeah.
So this is not something that you all want to do, because Ranil Wickremesinghe wanted the CEB to be restructured.
No.
So that's not on the cards.
Restructuring, yes.
Okay.
Restructuring, yes, in the sense the way
but not
CEB
privatization.
But not privatized.
Right. Thank you very much, Lakmali Hemachandra, Member of Parliament from the National People's Power. We, of course, will ask more questions from you, Lakmali, as now you're in government. There are many questions that we have right now under our sleeves that we'll put it momentarily as the show goes along. I now move my attention towards Neomal Perera from the Samagi Jana Balavegya. Neomal, what's happening?
Country is in chaos. If you look at cost of living index published yesterday, they talked about 2.1% going up by 2.1%. If you look at the rice, they call it the mafia. It's not. I don't think it's anything to do with the mafia. All these prior leaders up to today, they control the rice, and they exactly know that it's only two seasons for harvesting. So you know what the crop is, you know what is been harvested, you know what is been planted. So all these details are available with the government. It's a mismanagement. So it's due to the mismanagement of the government officers. Now you can see all the senior ministers are telling the government servants are not following line, and you can't work with them. It's the same people who have been there all these years. Till they retire, they have been government servants. They will be government servants. So it's not a new team who is there. And also, I mean, everybody is talking about, you know, the NPP promising following day to catch the culprits and, you know, put them inside 30, 40, 80. These are the numbers that they mentioned. They had the files. So they had the lawyers. I mean, so they could have prepared all these documents before coming to power, because from 1965, this JVP was formed, and from time to time they changed their name. Then due to the last election from 2000 onwards, when NPP was formed, they had the new team of different set of people coming in to take over the government. Definitely, my reasoning is that all this happened, why people voted from Gotabaya's SLPP.
So, Neomal, when I asked you this question about what's happening, I was trying to refer you to the party. Tell us about what's happening with the SJB.
I thought you were continuing with the economy of the country.
No, but because you spoke about it, I didn't want to interrupt you. But tell us what's happening with the SJB.
So let me finish what I started.
Two defeats at the presidential and the general election. Now there is talk of a change of leadership as well. We saw one of your senior ministers at that time, now a member of parliament, had already said that there will be restructuring within the SJB. What's happening?
As far as the economy was concerned, basically, I'm telling you, my experience is that it's mismanaged. And
it's still too early, 3 months. We have to give it a little bit
over
more
100
time.
days, over 100 days, rice price gone up by 50 rupees, which will cost a small family of 3,500 rupees if it is 30 kilos into 50 rupees. If it is a coconut, you take 100 rupees. Nowhere in the world, coconut price has gone up by 100 rupees, by double in 1 month. Nowhere in the world. It's from pollination to maturity, it takes 30 months.
Right.
So basically, you can't put the blame on the innocent monkeys and then say the monkeys have eaten within 1 month. 1 month. There's something drastically wrong in what you say, even what you say.
No, but let's talk about the party.
Yeah. So basically, about the country, its mismanagement, cost of living, all these problems. As far as the party is concerned, we have to now find out why we lost. Main reason was that our party was split. Ranil Wickremesinghe, honorable president, 2.2 million, 2.3 million nearly votes he got for his election. Then thereafter, we got the additional votes. If he had put together all those votes, he would have come back. So it is due to the fact that the party has been split that all this happened.
No,
so basically, to face that, so we have to get together. I believe, my personal belief, as we have to get to, just like NPP getting together to defeat all the other come to power, we have to get our people who have split from our party to get together.
Neomal, I want to drag your attention to the letter that was sent by Imtiaz Bakir Maka, the chairman of your party. I'm trying to figure out now, is he not in the party or is he someone outside the party?
Executive committee, I'm in the executive committee, we haven't met and I didn't see the letter. We didn't discuss this matter, so I haven't been able to speak to him.
Probably that is one of the reasons. Now he mentions in his letter that the party's way in which it operates is very undemocratic. Then he says the grassroots individuals have to be able to speak to the party leadership and the party executive committee momentarily. So a lot of daring errors have been pointed out by the chairman of your party. Is he doing this because he didn't get a nationalist post? Or?
Probably. If he's making such accusations, it may be probably personal reasons. But as far as I'm concerned, I know there is a structure in the party.
Yeah, but I'm just trying to
every person will not be able to speak to the leader.
Yeah, but
he has no time to speak to the grassroots level. All of them at the same time.
No, but I'm trying to figure out now. The chairman of the party can't speak to the leader of the party.
Of course, he speaks.
Then why a letter?
I don't know. It must be personal reasons. I can't answer for him.
Yeah.
I can't answer for him. But definitely, grassroots has the opportunity. We have a network structure in the party.
But he also mentions that outside forces are also involved in the party decision making.
No, it's always when you're in the opposition. When you're in the opposition, you get accusations. No, these sort of accusations are always there. When you lose, they say, because of this reason you lost, because of this
But your personal opinion, Neomal.
I think our party is in the right direction.
Yeah, but do you think
but definitely we need to get everybody together.
Restructuring within the SJB?
So time to time we need restructuring. We can't go on. That is the main reason why NPP won. Restructuring, new image, new name, bringing everybody together.
So probably
SJB, this is very important.
SJB also needs a new leader now.
It's not necessary. Democratically, if the majority says they ask for a leader, I'm sure Sajid will adhere to that. There is no problem.
Okay.
He's not a leader who has stuck onto power for 30 years, despite losing several times. This is the plight of the country today. Our former party, UNP, the main first democratic party which was formed in this country.
Thanks
today, from 94 to 2025, we are having the same leader. He says he's appointed for the next 5 years as well.
Thank you very much.
That is the plight. We are very flexible in our party.
That's not what Imtiaz Bakir Maka is saying, who is in the party. But let's leave to discuss that a little later on with some intricate details as we go along on the show tonight. Thank you very much, Neomal Perera from the SJB. He was also one time Deputy Foreign Minister of Sri Lanka as well. I now move my attention towards Barath Arullsamy, Democratic People's Front Vice President. Wherever you go, Barath, you snatch that post, no?
That
Vice Presidency.
And the recognition of people's mandate.
Recognition of the people's mandate, Barath Arullsamy, DPF Vice President. If there was recognition of the people's mandate, Barath, you should be in Parliament.
Unfortunately, the mandate was given to the present government, but I'm happy that I have secured nearly 20,000 preferential votes, so it's a clear sign.
So, Barath, tell me, who is the lead of your party?
The Democratic People Front, Honorable Mano Ganeshan is our leader.
Right.
And also we are the alliance of Tamil Progressive Alliance.
Right.
That is also led by Honorable Mano Ganeshan.
Right. So Mano Ganeshan, just a couple of days ago, coming on one of our shows called Pathikali in the Morning, said that Sajid Premadasa has to change his leadership style. Do you want to add anything to that, or is that your leader's position, or is it the position of the party as well? Because you all play a big role in the SJB, and your leader got that seat from the nationalist as well. Looking at the statements that are being made now, seems like a walkout of the DPF from the SJB is going to be inevitable in the next few months.
Actually, now after the two electoral setbacks, even the SJB has realized they should do a restructuring, and also our Politburo met last December last week. We also discussed about our restructuring process and also how people are thinking about the new political culture. So we should adopt that, because we being people's political party and to value the democratic practices, it is really important vital to understand the expectation of the people. So our leader Mano Ganeshan's statement is also referring or reflecting the people's idea. Okay, the party leadership, yes, in certain attitudes and certain changes should be made in the leadership.
So my only worry is with that statement, Barath. Why was that statement made after you all secured that nationalist seat?
No,
why didn't you all make that statement before that?
No.
Were you all waiting to get that seat and then make that statement?
No, not like that, Mr.
But it looks like it.
No. Just to explain that.
Yeah.
You know, this nationalist already it has been in an understanding on an MOU by SJB Alliance. If there is a nationalist, the TPA will be the Alliance Party, including SLMC and party. So everyone got all the important stakeholders as alliance. They got their nationalists. So what we expressed on behalf of DPA is that, you know, as former Minister Neomal pointed out, there should be a restructuring process not on the top level but also from the bottom to top. So it all, like in all the parties, after the mandate given to the NPP, all are like, you know, taking their changes in their ideologies.
So you're of the strong opinion that there needs to be a restructuring of the party. Barath, if you can put your phone on silent, if you don't mind, please.
It's not on my...
it's not your phone, okay.
Yeah, no.
But just to listen to the statement that you were making before, I just want to understand what really is the expectation of DPF, a constituent party of the SJB. Do you all want a change of leadership in the SJB? Is that what?
No, it is not the change of leadership. It's all change of, you know, the approach to the people. We need to convince the people they can trust us and they can give the mandate to us. So that is all we are.
But that's not going to happen for the next 5 years.
No, we can't say that. No, it's all. We can't be concrete sure about that. It's all about
what do you mean? You're saying NPP is not doing a good job.
No, it's all depends. You know, now we have given as colleague pointed out, Honorable MP pointed out, you know, they say they were in government in 3 months. Yes, it's a sufficient amount of time. They were in power, but we expect more from the government. So, like, you know, They were talking about minority rights. They were talking about upcountry
Baby
rights.
steps, baby steps.
So those are large-scale political understanding. Now we are just talking about this rice, coconut, only these small issues. Those are like governing issues. So we have to see beyond that how our economic structure is going to work. How are the new laws going to be
So
implemented?
are you trying to say that they won't be able to govern for the next 5 years?
It all depends on their plans. I don't see the plan yet. I think they will, exhibit their plans within coming few months.
If all you gentlemen can off your phones, that would be great because we are getting a disturbance, so it's becoming a little bit not able for our viewers to.
Flight mode.
Yes, flight mode would be ideal. So very quickly, Barath, 2025. What's in store? Walking out of the SJB? Is
No.
part of it?
No, it's all about, not only SJB, Ms. Shamir, but all the parties, I would say. There are several parties here. They have done their path in the way in which people wanted to. Right? We can't say after deciding some ideology, some decision, the people should follow that. That era is gone now. So now the people's expectation is, this is our expectation, so you should adopt that. So it is our duty to adopt that and go forward. So we are in the strong belief that the Democratic People Front, the TPA Alliance, will work with the mandate of the people. Right. And also echo the voice of the minorities in the country.
Right. Thank you very much, Barath. But Barath, I must tell you, are very lucky to be Vice President of the CWC and then Vice President of the
It's
DPF.
more than lucky, it's hard work.
Hard work,
Yeah.
no? Let's put it that way. But I'll ask you more questions about this later on. Anyway, thanks, Barath, for joining us this evening on Face the Nation. I now move my attention towards Dimitra, Abeysekara. I'll come to Nuwan momentarily. Just want to pick Dimitra's brain in terms of the role of your party now within the SLPP. Are you part of the SLPP now, or just for clarity's sake and for full disclosure?
No, Shamir, we are still part of the alliance. In terms of a decision that would be taken, the party has not decided against moving out of the alliance, and there is an impending local government election. There is also a pending provincial council election. So in terms of that, I think it's a little premature to decide right now. But having said that, the alliance is strong in terms of our relationship with the SLPP.
So Dimitra, you can today answer questions with regard to the SLPP, right? Because I don't want you to say
no, Shamir. No, Shamir. I would
cherry picking questions.
I would.
You can't say it's good and well and good.
I would say you should. I should say you should probably generalize it a bit more than trying to target it at specific questions that should be asked by.
But don't cherry pick. Yeah, but don't cherry pick, Dimitra. Okay, so we are both on the same side. Right. Dimitra, just to understand now, you all had a very nasty defeat at the last presidential as well as general election.
Yeah.
Only a few members of your political party was able to go into parliament, and out of that, Neomal Rajapaksa just skimmed through with the nationalist seat. I just want to understand, because this has been something that has been discussed at many political fora at present. You're a lawyer. You're an attorney at law. You did not have the privilege, as many claim, to write the exams in a closed environment. Just shed some light, because we saw Sajid Premadasa coming and talking about his educational qualifications in Parliament. Neomal Rajapaksa, will he be able to answer anything from the law book?
Shamir, I think Honorable Hemachandra will also be able to shed some light on that.
Both of you are lawyers.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, not on the qualifications, but the fact that there are so many statutes, but to be able to recite a provision that you're being questioned on without any prior knowledge, because even when we go to court, we always take our statute with us, and unless you're dead sure of exactly which provision of which law is being questioned, it's not very easy unless you've got photographic memory to be able to spit out a provision from.
But I will give you a little bit of remind you what happened in the past. Sujiva Senasinghe, the Member of Parliament in 2017, I think, if I'm not mistaken, if my memory serves right, I'm subjected to correction. However, he said that he challenged MP Namal Rajapaksa to mention 5 sentences, any sentence from the Penal Code of Sri Lanka.
I think it was the Civil Procedure Code that he asked.
Code, yes. That's not that tough, is it?
One.
Yeah.
First 10, after
Well,
one.
no, I will tell you this.
Now we have Attorney at Law Nuwan Bopage as well.
So
we have Attorney at Law Dimitra. We have Attorney at Law Lakmali.
For a non-practicing, I would say if you aren't in practice for say a year or two, I would say spitting out a provision from a statute is not in verbatim. It's not very easy. That I have to say, because
in that year, he topped the law college exam.
Yeah, it was just one paper from what I recall.
99, he got marks from 100.
Yes.
So you're saying someone who got 10 marks out of 100 can't mention one line as Neomal Perera says from the Civil Procedure Code of Sri Lanka?
Well, Shamini, sometimes you study for an exam, you sit the exam, 2 weeks later you look at the same paper and you can't remember an answer to the first 2 questions.
And that is the caliber of politicians we are sending to Parliament.
No, not particularly, Shamir, because you have to understand that, like I said, depending on the question before you and what you prepare for, right? Now, for example, if you go to court for a particular matter, you prepare for that matter, and there can be a court case that is completely opposite to that, and unless you're prepared for it on the facts and on the law that you have to present, the precedent and all of that, it's not very easy to spit out those facts. And I think both Nuwan and Lakmali will agree, unless that's why we read our briefs, that's why we prepare for it. So when you take
we're not questioning you about anything.
No, I know, but when you especially in our profession, if you take someone by surprise on a matter that hasn't come before, because there are instances we go before court also and we say we are not ready in this matter and seek a further date, or
so probably,
just been retained.
Probably young MP Namal Rajapaksa also has now proved that he has the might to practice in court of Sri Lanka.
For a short duration that he did practice, I think he did appear in court. But having said that, whether he decides to come to court and practice now is his elect, and that's his decision to take, Shamir.
So, Dimitra, I'm glad you're answering today. Last time when I asked you a question about Namal Rajapaksa's wealth, you said I don't know.
Yeah, because like I said, I mean, do you know about my personal accounts? Can you comment on what's in my bank?
If you're my lead, I would know.
No, that's not true. I mean, you think any one of them can, comment on their leader's personal accounts?
But when this is in public domain, you should know. No?
So everything in the public domain sometimes, Shamir, is not factual. No? We know that, unless it's verified. This is what
they declare. This doesn't have to be factual by any account.
So then the declaration should have the source of income.
It does not have, unfortunately.
So then you clearly haven't done your homework.
No, it does not have the declaration of how the income has been made. That's what I asked you, because the income has been mentioned.
You should file an RTI under that and see.
We should.
Yeah. Right. That's your right.
Yeah. So, Dimitra, just to understand, 2024, a lot of lessons have been learned politically by many individuals. We saw this happening when the NPP bagged 159 seats in Parliament. What were the hard lessons learned by the SLPP? Because from a 6.9 million voter base to come down to 300,000, shameful.
No, Shamir, I would say that the last 10 to 15 years, we have seen this trend where, the lack of delivery or certain failures, the smallest failures would be held on. Now, for example, even the NPP is, now claiming that it's only been 3 months. But if you look at the electoral promises that were brought forward in 2015, that there was a 100-day program which promised almost everything that the NPP is promising. No, I'm talking about 2015.
Okay.
The 2015 election campaign had a 100-day program which promised everything that the NPP promised, right? But they weren't able to deliver in 100 days. But now the NPP, having not promised it in 100 days, in 3 months' time, they're saying, no, we are a young government, we've only been here for 3 months. Had it been any other government, members of the NPP would have been barking up a storm in Parliament. Now, in 4 months' time, you ask them, they'll say 4 months. In a year's time, you ask, they'll say, no, we are a young government, we've only been in power for 1 year. So how long do they seem to take this forward by telling us, how many calendar months it's been since election? We know exactly how long it's been. But, the problems are being raised. Yes, CEB has a problem, solution is this. But when are the proactive steps going to be taken And when are we going to see these proactive steps?
No,
when are we
today-
going to see
even
these
today-
policies?
Yeah, but even today, Dimitra, under the patronage of President Arullsamy Sanayaka, he launched the Clean Sri Lanka campaign, not just talking about cleanliness alone, but even cleaning the entire system of governance in the country. These are progressive steps. This has never happened before.
When you say progressive steps, Shamir, you have to think of the practicality.
That's
and
what you said. You said proactive
No,
steps.
proactive steps in terms of critical matters of the country. Now, the economy, okay, so say Clean Sri Lanka has certain segments that are going to be brought in for this, but what are they? Are they clearly outlined? Because I haven't seen the policy framework for that. I'm sorry, I think Lakmali will be able to highlight some of those points. But we're looking at certain issues at hand, and the moment there is some form of news going around, for example, importation. Now there was a statement made, I think, a couple of weeks ago in terms of import restrictions being, eased, and then how they will go about it. But for the longest time, until there was sufficient pressure on the government, there was nothing put forward. So while the problems are being highlighted, there are no cohesive, at least, nothing put forward in terms of what the solutions are. Clean Sri Lanka is a fantastic idea, and it keeps with the Sustainable Development Goals and the Millennium Development Goals that have been set as far back as the year 2000. But having said that, if you look at the Sustainable Development Goals and the Millennium Development Goal report that was published in 2013, if I'm not mistaken, by the UN, you will see that we had, during President Rajapaksa's time, surpassed all the other countries in terms of the goals that were supposed to be reached. I don't have the data on me, and I'm unfortunately on flight mode on my phone. But if you see, we had reached almost all of a malnutrition, fertility, education, malaria, all of those points. We had reached far before the target dates, and the entire framework as to how it was done is highlighted in that UN document. It's 800 odd pages. So having said that, we are yet to see the exact steps and framework for solutions to the problems. While they've identified the problems, they don't seem to be providing the proper solutions to those problems.
And bang, Dimitra, 2022, we go bankrupt.
Well, I was talking about certain problems. There are always...
No, you said Mahinda Rajapaksa was able to...
I said the Sustainable Development Goals.
But
I said the Sustainable...
2022, eye-opener...
I said Sustainable Development Goals. You're going now to the economic policies, right? Which is why we're saying, okay, there were fundamental problems for those crashes, and we went through it. Shamir, I wasn't even remotely in politics in 2022, so I suffered from that as well. And having said that, we came out of it, and that's a recession. But having said that, like I said, certain things were done. You can't hold on to one thing and then eyewash the rest of it. That's not fair. That's not fair.
But that was a very hard fall.
No, it was. I agree.
I agree.
It
was from the bed to the ground, I can imagine. But that was like from around 35 floors right to the bottom.
I agree.
Thanks a lot, Dimitra Abeysekara, from the SLPP or LSSP?
I love how you fling that at me. I'm a member of the LSSP, but still part of the alliance as well.
Right. So can I say Dimitra Abeysekara from the SLPP?
As part of the alliance, yes, you can.
Right. Okay. Thanks a lot, Dimitra. I now move my attention to attorney at law Nuwan Bopage from the People's Struggle Alliance. He was the presidential candidate of the party as well. Nuwan, I just want to ask you a very simple question. I don't want to talk too much about the future with you yet. You all did something in 2022, the People's Struggle Alliance. We saw many political parties affiliated, like the Frontline Socialist Party at that time, took a major lead forward as far as the Aragale was concerned. At Golfes, there were pocket protests, silent protests taking place, but the Frontline Socialist Party was one of the parties who went and started protesting opposite the presidential secretariat, right near that gate. So you all did you all started that movement as well, but you all could not take that ideology from 2022 to the ballot box. Why was that?
Yeah, I think even previous occasion also I answered to that. Throughout what the politics that we have been practicing is to how to change the entire state structure, not only to change the government. Actually, NPP was able to capitalize the outcome of the we have to agree that outcome of the Aragalaya. But as a party, now merely because you got the power of the government, now they are on the ground. Now they are proving the fact that if you have not changed the state structure, you can't do anything. Because state is concerned, state is not only a government. Now, for instance, now today state, the main component of the state is the IMF and India and multi-millionaires in Sri Lanka. So they are only controlling the government, controlling the state power with someone else. But NPP was able to get the government. Now all these criticisms are concerned, or some petty criticism about regarding certain things. We are not going to that extent. Our main criticism is, of course, people have trusted you, people gave the power, now you have to deliver. When they are going to deliver it, now the challenges are in the surface is state power is holding somebody else, not the Andokumar Disanayak or not the parliamentarian.
What do you mean?
Now when
state power is...
Yes.
But President is Andokumar Disanayak.
Of course. Now, actually, into November 27 November, there was a discussion with IMF. This government wanted to reduce the VAT. They wanted to reduce electricity tariff. Now, this parliamentarian might say, no, we can't do, but actually government wanted to do that. They suggested that. But IMF said, no, you should not do this. If you are doing this, we are warning you, we are going away. So now the state power is concerned, they are playing the major role.
Who? IMF?
IMF. Then they went to India, the president went to India. Now nothing. Once they come to Sri Lanka, president didn't tell anything about how to connect the main electricity grid, how to lay LNG pipelines, nothing. But President Modi said, we came to certain understanding. But state, actually, it seems, they are not confident. These president or government.
Are you saying India is controlling, or are you saying IMF is controlling?
That's what there are state power is concerned. Government and state are two things. State power is always controlling one class, dominating by one class. Right now, India, IMF, certain now for the rice issue is concerned, even though they are lion roaring kind of things, ultimately government was unable to control that. So we are not going to criticize that because of that this government should be toppled. They are not inefficient. But we are talking about the reality. Reality is that these 5 families are controlling that. So that is the state, because they are the dominant characters of the state. So whether President Andokumar Disanayak or this government, these parliamentarians were able to take the state power fully and get the power to the majority, the people who are actually, for the country's concerned, there is a working class. For simple example, now domestic debt restructuring, there are 2.2 million workers, the funds who contributed to the EPF fund. So their benefits were curtailed. On the other hand, there are very few bond holders, actually treasury bill holders. They have been given around 26 to 30% benefits. So what is the class that dominates in the country?
No,
dominating class is that class.
So I just want to understand, Nuwan, now you mentioned all this and you eloquently put the processes into play and say that these are the lapses that we see, and you all are not going to be very petty in talking about rice or electricity tariffs or whatever it is. So we understand your position. But if we are looking at these as grave issues, we've seen in the past how the Inter-University Students Federation would launch even a protest based on something that is not even relevant to them. And we've seen them going on the streets, blocking roads, staging protests, and then we see your political party. We saw the manner in which how you all have launched protests. You've been to courts many a times to safeguard the interest of the activists who were attached to your political party. Where are you all hiding?
No, actually, we have been, even after the election, we are addressing...
But I don't see you all actively engaged. Now, we invite for many shows.
Now, budget proposals, now the government is in the process of drafting budget. The government is in the process of drafting budget proposals. Now 1 week ago, actually we have handed over, these are our proposals. Now high time you to implement certain things. Now we are demanding because we
No,
can't.
it seems that you all are hiding behind
We
a
are very
big
practical.
stone.
No, they-
We can't even see you now. If
For a
there is a
moment-
veil in front of you all, we'll at least see our people like Vasant Mudulige behind it. We will see people like Swastika Arlingam behind it. We'll see Nuwan Bopage. We don't even see you all anymore.
No, we are. No, I think whether you have seen isn't.
I have not seen. I have not seen.
But
Being an active journalist, I have not seen.
still. So we are not going to expect miracles from this government. No. Now it's still 3 months.
So like giving them time.
We are not. We don't need to give time. Also, what we want to now. There are 2 segments now. SJBO, SLPP. Now they came forward and they are asking to topple the government. Now this government can't go ahead with this. But we are not in that extent as well. Certain segment are here to say that no, still it's an infant government. We should give them time to implement these things. We are not in that extent as well. We are representing the people. Whether it's a government is new government, whether it's old government. You look at our history. If there is an issue that detrimental to the people, we are fighting for that.
Right. So
now the immediate issue is the budget.
Right.
Now you also explained regarding withholding tax. Now withholding tax, now they increase it to 5% to 10%. At the same time, pay tax is concerned, they increase it to 100,000 to 150,000. The pay tax concession, only after you calculate around 150,000 people only get the benefit out of that. But pay tax is concerned, 3-4 million people get affected to that. So why? Because of the IMF, they can't do this.
We will talk about that.
So
that's a great.
That's what.
Great
Now
issue.
in that
We'll talk about that.
we came forward. We addressed this.
Right.
We actually educated people. This is wrong.
I think Lakmali would be in a better position to answer that. But very quickly,
Yes.
Nuwan, before I move on to opening the floor for questions from our journalist tonight. Now, many political parties like Neomal mentioned here, Barath mentioned how the narrative has to change. Parties have to be restructured. Like the NPP, the JEP back then restructured the political party. They came with a force in 2019 as the NPP, and they started moving forward. As a result of that, they were able to gain power and to have a resounding victory at a presidential and a general election is remarkable as far as the party progression is concerned for the NPP. I just want to ask you this question. Don't you think the People's Struggle Alliance, which the main political constituent party is the Frontline Socialist Party, that you all have to change the narrative, you all have to restructure your party and start thinking anew based on the futuristic way forward for Sri Lanka?
Yeah, Frontline Socialist Party is concerned, we have a party program, party manifesto. When we come to the election, we form this coalition. The coalition is concerned, we have a manifesto which we actually publish before the election. So basically,
you all don't want to change.
No, whatever, because
So you all are very far left.
No, not far left actually. We are left party. We are believe in socialism.
Yeah,
we are believing in
far left.
socialism. But at the same time, we are ready to change our strategies according to the circumstances. There's no issue. There's no far left thing. But
So
the
you all
only
are
thing
willing
is
to become a centre-left
because
party.
being a left party,
No, centre-left
we
actually
take now
centre-left.
what is now you always ask about the Sajith Premadas, you ask about Neomal Rashma. These parties are basically based on characters, one leader. So our party structure is not that. Even the member who joined party yesterday has the same power which hold him by the General Secretary.
No, but-
entire party get
Right.
together only taking decisions.
but,
if something went wrong, entire party take the responsibility.
But are you all looking at changing?
We should change certain strategies, of course.
So you accept that you all have been in the wrong footing in the last few years. As a result of that, you all have to change now.
No, because even you see the Aragale. During the Aragale, we made a major role. And our main concern is how to change the mindset of the people. We did that. NPP capitalized that. But we are not worried about that. We are happy because that...
You're happy that you all are in power.
Yeah, power is something else. But we are also being people's power. Outside there's a people's power which we are always canvassing.
Thank you very much, Nuwan Bopage. So I want to open the floor for questions from Shihar as well as Divya, but before that, for clarity's sake, Lakmali, you have to respond to the allegation that was made by Nuwan relating to the withholding tax, and then he mentioned about you all promised, spoke to the IMF to bring down the VAT. That didn't work out. You all wanted to increase the threshold of the pay tax. That didn't work out. And
we did increase the threshold.
No, but from 100,000 to 150,000.
Yeah, that's
50,000.
120,000 people in the country. They are still people, and I think even FSP was involved in the struggles with all of these professionals when they were fighting for a tax relief 2 years ago or maybe 1 year ago. FSP was also one of the parties.
No, he also mentioned, he also mentioned, just let me finish.
So even at that point, it would have been only been
you all acting based on the whim and fancy of the IMF and outside forces, and he puts very firmly saying that it's not Arullsamy Dissanayake who's ruling the country, but outside forces are ruling the country, and he's just a puppet in this whole play. Can you answer that question?
So in 2022, when we, as a country, when we suspended our debt payments unilaterally, we went into a very weak position as a country, right? So then we had to take loans from India. India was the only country giving us money, bailing us out basically. They gave us, I think, 4 billion USDs during that 1 year. And then we had to turn to IMF for a bailout of the economy. That was what happened. So I don't think we don't need anybody to tell us that we have certain external obligations towards creditors basically, because we are a country in debt, and even now we are in a very fragile economic position. So this is what we can't rock the boat the way that we want to always. That's the truth, right? And I don't think saying that eliminates the power that people have to change any of these circumstances. That's why we believe that elections are important, mandates are important. I think when we discuss with IMF, one of the strongest things, or when we discuss with India about certain commitments that the previous government had made, one of the strongest points that played in our favor was the fact that we are a democratically elected government and we have a huge mandate, right? So we always have that to bargain with anybody, and we stand on the side of the mandate. And we had to tell them, this is a problem in the country. There's malnutrition in the country. There's, kids are dropping out of schools. This is a problem in the country. We need these reliefs. We have to tell them. But of course, there are certain limitations on the way we can achieve those. Those are completely external, and I agree with that. There are external factors that affects the country for the simple reason that we are not in a economically strong position, right? If we had a economy that could sustain itself, if we had an economy that was not in debt to the extent that we are in, of course we would have been in a better position. But we are not. That's the reality. And we have never, even during the presidential election, this was why even when everybody was attacking us, especially from PSA, when everybody was attacking us that we are pro-IMF, that was this narrative has changed all of a sudden. Before the presidential election, NPP was attacked by far-left groups as a pro-IMF force. That because we said we do not want to exit IMF for the simple reason we cannot at this point. And I don't think admitting that takes anything away from our sovereignty or the public mandate of the people, right? Our people are our strength. Our vote is our strength. We always represent the political will of the people.
Yeah, but when you make statements now, one of a member of parliament's Lakmali speaking at an event said about how sometimes you have to lie.
No, she did not say that. She did not say that. I think it's really unfortunate that media is twisting what she said. What she actually says is, you can look at the video where she says it, right?
I watched it a couple of times.
What she says is, she doesn't say politicians have the right to lie. What she says is people have the right to lie about, or people have the right to say lies or truth about anything that we say. That means you, the media, the public has the right to say lies or truth about anything that we say. That's your freedom of expression, that's your democratic right. And it is that very right that Daily Mirror has used against this very MP, right? It's really unfortunate and it's ironic at the end of the day that happened. She doesn't say that politicians have the right to lie. I would challenge anybody on that. She does not say that, right? She does not say that. If you can show me the space where she says that she actually says public has the right to believe what they want to believe, tell whatever they want to say. That's their democratic right. That's freedom of expression. Of course, that's the truth. That's the truth, right? So she's just stating the obvious in a way. And Daily, I mean, I would, I think Daily Mirror was the first publication to point this out, went and said that you have the right to lie, Nilanthi Kottahachi. They are doing exactly what she was saying, that they have the right to do, right? Twist it, distort it, misreport it, whatever. They have the right to do all of that, and they have been doing it for a long time. Media has been doing it for a long time. That's fine.
So I let the public decide the truth of the statement, and
I think everybody should really listen to what she says.
Bring to the table. Yes.
Just to clarify, I think Shihar, you and I, and also Shamir know, we in the media don't have the right to lie, and we don't.
But you do, Niresh. I think you do, and I don't think as a responsible. I mean, I'm not saying you do. I'm not saying the three of you do. But we see enough fake news against. I mean, look at YouTube, look at social media. I think.
But Lakmali, you also can go to courts for defamation.
I mean, why? Why do we have to target? I mean, this is what I'm saying. Democratic space cannot be targeted all the time. If there's serious damage, if there's disproportionate damage, yes, we will go to court, right?
She went to the CID, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I mean, that's because her character was assassinated at one point. Then she went to the CID. But we are not going to target every media person or every publication that's going to misreport or publish fake news. We are going to come and say, this is what we said. We are going to clarify and explain. But we do not want to shrink the democratic space and taking it to, area of legality. When we go
Lakmal, what you say is like Nilanthi Kottachi was purposefully targeted on that issue?
I would say that, yes. I think she was misreported, and she was that headline. There's a specific headline that Daily Mirror has published. You have the right to. I can't. They have. So she explains in length. She says about few sentences, a paragraph, if you say, right, explaining what she says. They take one sentence out of it. She doesn't even say politicians have the right to lie. She says you have the right to lie. You in the sense public, you in the sense media, you in the sense you have the right to lie because it's covered under, it's to a certain extent.
I don't think.
I think again, Shihar, where the print media is concerned, the Press Complaints Commission is there, and it's a very strong institution.
But
so that can be taken up.
Just for record, Lakmali, I don't think anyone has the right to lie. I don't think
people have the right to offend. People have the right to joke.
Move to the topic.
But if it goes to the extent of lying, I don't think
Shamir,
the media can do it, or even people can do it.
It's not ethical to lie.
It's not ethical to do it.
It's not ethical to lie. I don't think it's in the realm of
I'm sorry, just to say, I think the phrase is not the fact that people have a right to lie, and Lakmali as an attorney at law, and I think Nuwan will also agree with me, you have the freedom, but not a right to lie.
No, exactly, that's
right?
true.
As an attorney at law, you have
she says you have the democratic space to do it. She says you have the democratic space.
But also for a public representative and a member of parliament from the government to make a statement like that, like you said, you just said it's ethically wrong.
She doesn't say that she has the right to lie. It would have been very wrong if she said she has the right to lie.
So when you say everybody,
she does not say she's lying or that she has the right to lie. It would have been very wrong if she said that.
But you just said she said everybody has. You also just said
you have the right to lie. You have the right to lie, not I have the right to lie.
So when you say you, it's society. Is she not human? Is she not part of society?
That's not what she's saying, though. You're taking it out of context.
No.
I think we should move to the topic now.
I'm saying Delhi, but this is what I'm saying. When somebody is speaking,
because she was the same MP, if I'm not mistaken, that spoke about the Ugandan money as well.
Exactly what I'm saying. So for a public representative and a member of parliament from the government to make a statement like that in the backdrop of certain allegations she levelled before she came into parliament, which are now proving to be false.
Yeah, I'm not saying that maybe there was a miscommunication. Maybe that was not properly understood. Maybe there was a weakness in communication. Because I understood perfectly. This is what I'm saying. I understood very perfectly.
Now, actually, those are petty issues that she was targeted. She was targeted. But as a political party, our concern is in their manifesto. Now, this is connected to Lakmali's thing. In their own manifesto, they said before the election, they are going to bring an alternative DSA. Debt,
I have answered this question so many
structuring
times.
analysis.
Yeah.
Whether it is a lie or not now. Now they firmly admitted Ranil Wickremesinghe's DSA.
But Nuwan, to be very honest, Lakmali has answered that.
Yeah. That's what. No, I just want to connect this. Otherwise, it's going somewhere else.
Respond to that very quickly, because Nuwan has a problem and the viewers are watching.
So you can't lie in your manifesto. That's what I'm saying.
Politics is contingent.
Not the Kottachi
Politics
issue.
is contingent, right? What we can do now changes according to the circumstances. What we can do right before 2022.
Yeah, but you all had expected this to happen, right?
No, we did not. To be honest,
difficult.
We did not expect Ranil Wickremesinghe to sign off with the private bondholders before we came into power. That was our expectation. Because the discussions were not finalized. There were 2 rounds of discussions which did not come through. And we did not expect the debt restructuring process to end before we came into power. That was a calculation we made. And we made statements based on that calculation. However, Mr. Wickremesinghe decided to end the whole thing before we came into power. Then after that, it would have been wrong if we kept on going on, a certain commitment that we made, which is not realistic at that point. I think it's very honest to say, at this point, this cannot be done. We are not saying that it was wrong to think of a DSA. We are not saying that, this deal was perfect. I mean, if you listen to the Deputy Finance Minister of the government, he perfectly says all this. We are not saying that these are perfect deals. We are not saying that, we are getting everything out of this. But this is the reality of the country right now, and we have to go forward.
Agree to the fact that what Dr. Nalini Jayathy said at the media briefing, saying that you all stabilize the country's economy in a span of 3 months. We stabilized in this sense,
Shami.
But we stabilized in this sense. You just mentioned that Ranil Wickremesinghe had done all this, and as a result of that, we don't have
I don't think the country's economy is stabilized.
Within 3 months, the country's economy cannot gain traction. Just let's say you go and plant a seed, you all are now reaping the benefit of that seed.
No, what seed? What was the seed that he planted? Malnutrition, unemployment, kids dropping out of schools, people dying in hospitals. Why aren't we talking about that side of this discourse that he created?
Can I follow up?
We have to resolve all these issues. We are step by step. We are taking measures to, stop all that, to cure all that in the society.
We don't even have rights.
Yeah, Lakmali, I have this question on
And just to answer you on this specific question of stability, right? We are not claiming that debt restructuring was done under political leadership. We have never said that. What the stability that we are talking about is, when we came into power, there was an expectation that was created in the market by all of these people, in the international arena, by all of the opposition parties, and there was an expectation, there was a speculation, uncertainty created about what we would do, when we have very specifically mentioned what we were going to do.
But the question is, Lakmali, now, when it comes to rice issue, it's not your problem.
Yeah.
Is it your problem?
It is our problem. People's problems are our problems.
Right. So you agree that this rice issue that we are facing right now is a problem that your government has to solve?
We have to resolve it.
You all have to resolve it.
Of course, yes.
Okay,
it's
you all can't cherry pick. Example,
we have to resolve every problem in the country.
That part and say,
what problem did I refuse to resolve, Shami?
The problem is people voted for that manifesto for a moment, let's believe. Now what they are saying, when we were drafting that this was the situation. Once we come to power, situation is different.
On 17th or 18th of September,
regarding PTA,
before the presidential election,
you promised to abolish PTA. Whether you are willing to do that?
Of course, we are going to abolish PTA.
But
my question is also.
But their legal main the director of legal said.
No, there is no director of legal. Mr. Harshana Nanayakara, the Minister of Justice, has come to the Parliament and said that.
Whether you are willing to implement 13th Amendment as you said in your manifesto.
We have not said that in our manifesto.
It is there in your manifesto. You go and read. So that's a problem. That's a problem. Once you come to, that is what the Rajapaksa did. That is what the Ranil Wickremesinghe did. Once you come to power, your stance is different. Before the difference. So that's why political parties must be there to pressurize them. We are not going to topple them.
This is the thing.
That's why we are questioning them.
No, I don't think.
Can I answer this? I want to answer this. I want to answer this. I want to answer this. This is a matter of. Can I answer this?
Go ahead.
This leads to the position that we misled the people. That our mandate is based on misleading and people did not understand what they were voting for. This is the final conclusion of the stance that Mr. Bopage is heading towards, right? That is completely not true. People have it is not easy to vote with a party like National People's Power, which had only 3% voter base and 3 people in the parliament. People completely deliberated and voted with NPP at the presidential election and completely deliberated. So this 2/3 mandate that we got in the parliament came after all of these DSAs and everything, right? After the presidential election. People completely, we should always stand with the people's mandate, people's right to vote and their capacity to vote with whoever they want to vote with.
Newmal, just want to quickly ask, on your opening statement, you said that the NPP government has not been able to arrest people or bring those to book to justice in the first 3 months that they've been in power. I want to drag your attention to 2015 when the Yahapalne government came into power. You all were there in power for nearly 4.5 years. Tell me one person that you all brought into justice.
No, I was not in 2015 Ranil Wickremesinghe's government. I left Bali politics at that time.
No, but Sajid Premadasa was there in...
He was there, but I left politics.
But now he's your leader invariably.
He's the leader now.
Yeah. But at that time, Sajid Premadasa's camp didn't do anything from 2015 to 2019.
2015 to 19, Ranil Wickremesinghe, Honorable Ranil Wickremesinghe and Sirisena, Honorable Sirisena Kure were the controlling...
Maithripala
Sirisena were the controlling...
Can't even remember the president's name.
Yeah, controlling the situation. So it was like that before, when it was Rajapaksa's during that time. So it is the responsibility of the way things have been held. Like today, Honorable His Excellency Honorable Kumar Disanayaka is controlling the present situation. It is that head of the state is the one. During 2015, it was a coalition government, but it was both of them, the two parties, which had a 2/3 mandate, which had the power to bring. But they didn't bring. That's why they were thrown out. So, present government, then Gotabaya came, then they bankrupted, then we told to go, I was not there in that government, but Sajid Premadasa's party was there in SSJB. They told to go to the IMF. They didn't listen. Finally, bankrupt.
My question is not about IMF. So, my question is very simple. My question is
corruption.
From 2015,
yes,
the
so it was their prerogative, and they didn't do it.
Came into power.
That's why they lost so badly. That's why they lost so badly. Right. So similarly, the present position in the present government also, they of course operate differently, Politburo and so on and so forth. Yet to be seen how they are operating. Up to date, 100 days have passed. We see that now they are blaming debt restructuring and so on and so forth.
Blaming anybody.
No, you're saying.
Blame anybody.
No, you're saying because of that 2 days before Ranil signed.
I just explained what happened. I'm not blaming. We are taking full responsibility about the decision.
We perfectly understand, Lakmali, that you need more time. That's
very well established. Just 3 months.
No, I'm not blaming anybody. I'm not here to say the previous government. We don't care what they do.
You can't do anything overnight in politics or in governance, right? That's perfectly understood.
Economically,
they did not promise 100 days with Neomal Perera.
They didn't promise days. They said following days.
Can I just ask Neomal?
No, just one question from Lakmal. Now, Lakmal, this accusation and allegations come because NPP had solution when they were in the opposition. Now, if you go through all this, the social media postings, Foreign Minister Vijitha Herath is talking about the oil prices. Then the Trade Minister is talking about the rice, right? Rice and the paddy, and also your part, the JVP Secretary Tilvin Silla is talking about the Kiribat, right? Now these days are being posted, right, repeatedly. Now at that point they actually had solutions, right? They say that we have the solution, right? Now when you come to the government, suddenly, you actually...
Are we saying we don't have solution?
No, I'm not saying you don't have solution. No. When they were in the opposition, they had overnight solution. Like they say, we can solve this, right?
We can solve this. That's why we power.
Now, thing is, that solution, I don't know whether it's not working because those things actually created over expectation among the voters, right? That's why people also expect more from the NPP than the other governments, right? Now, why?
I think it's very fair for the people to expect more from
Exactly,
the NPP
exactly.
than the government.
So what I'm asking is like, didn't you know that it takes time for solutions, or didn't you know the reality in politics?
Shihar, these parties, United National Party, SLFP, SLPP, whoever the other parties are except for FSP and PSA, they have been in power not for 3 months, no, not even for 2 years, not for 1 year. They have been in power for decades. Over the time, they have been in power for decades, right? We are not asking for decades. We are not asking for decades to solve a problem, right? We are saying there are solutions. We are very confident about our solutions, but it does take some time to roll out those solutions,
For
right?
example, let's take the fuel prices.
Yeah.
Now,
So for the fuel prices, you have
when
to
is this
invest.
going to be reduced?
For the fuel prices, you have to make sure that our fuel, the refinery capacity of the country has to increase for the fuel prices to go down, right? And we are taking steps on that. We are making, we are making progress on that. We are discussing with investors. We are talking with.
What sort of progress have you all made now? Today, the fuel prices came to light. You all have only reduced 5 rupees.
Yeah, that's because we are under the full formula now. We are under the full formula,
But that
and we
formula
have
has
to
not been
operate
unveiled
that.
by your government yet.
How can we be done away with that?
So no, not done away with it.
Have we said that we are going to do away? No, we have never said we are going to do away with the full formula.
No, but you all said that Minister Hemachandra was taking a big cut out of the fuel prices, because when you are coming to power,
full deals.
The full deals.
These are the
as a result
tender
of that.
deals those are still
So
going
now
on.
who's taking that cut?
Nobody is taking those cuts, Shamir. These are deals that had happened about 1 year ago, and we are still running on those tenders.
So
this is what we are saying.
Are you telling me that Minister Hemachandra is still getting that?
I'm not sure.
Money?
I don't know. I don't know. I personally don't know whether he's still getting that money or not. But what I'm trying to tell you is,
know for a fact that there was a deal like that. Why is being?
I'm sure he's investigated. I'm sure he's being investigated. Let's just stop it at that, right? I'm sure he's being investigated.
Who else?
I'm sure many of these people are.
Who else
I don't
is
want
being
to
investigated?
I think.
Lakmali.
I think it's not for the media.
Because you all said 400 files we have.
Yeah.
So you all are rolling it out step by step.
Of course we are. We are conducting. The CID is already conducting. We don't want to talk about this in the media because we don't want to make a media show spectacle out of this, right? We are not capitalizing on any of these cases because when we put it to the media, anybody would agree, it creates a certain spectacle and it obstructs the course of justice and investigation. We want it to go very, steadily and give the space for the officers to do those investigations, because we have to see these are very powerful people. They can be targeted at any point. And we have very few officers also who are doing these investigations.
During that, the doctorate, when the doctorate issue came to the surface, I am also denying that we are not going against this. What the government is, they...
Doctorate of the speaker.
Yes, when that issue was arising, the other party. So as a party, we are not interested about that.
But
the government at the peak of that issue, government pronounced, actually it's a media show, during the Ranil Wickremesinghe period, how many bar licenses have been given.
It was answered to a question.
It
was given as an answer to a question.
What I am asking, what is the step? What is the action you are going to take against them? Why I am asking this? We also want that genuineness. We believe this government can do that because of this mandate. They should be genuine. But the certain things they are doing this media show. But no action. So what is the action you are going to take against them? So people are expecting this.
See, this bar licensing, we did not put it out there.
Unlike other political parties, we are not going to give petty.
I think the pettiest arguments are brought forward by PSA only in this table.
But the way that this government
like
is...
he said.
I think
What is the action? Same thing they...
But just for clarity, let's respect everyone's opinions and ideas, because all of you are invited for a purpose, so we can listen to all your ideas and let the people deliberate as to who's right and who's
Government also should stop media shows.
This is not a media show.
As she said, stop media shows. Do actions now. Do actions.
See, I want to see for the past 3 months, these are the things that we have done, right? We faced the third review of the IMF. We managed to do this very quickly because we were going through elections. there was a concern about delaying the process. We managed to do it very quickly and finish the third review at the staff level, right? And we managed to make sure that payee taxes threshold were brought down, that certain taxes on nutrition items for children are removed, that children are getting 6,000 rupees under Asvesuma and outside of Asvesuma also to purchase school equipment. We increased Asvesuma, we increased Pohora subsidies, fertilizer subsidies, we increased fisheries subsidies, right? And we have been tackling the rice shortage issue. It's not fair to say that the government has not been doing, it's not like the government is sitting somewhere not doing anything, right? Government has been doing a lot of things. For the 3 months, I mean, tell me a government which has worked with this many challenges under this short time and been this considerate of the people, You would say Ranil Wickremesinghe sorted out the economy within 1 month, 2 months, but the toll was on the people. People paid the price for that. We are still paying the price for that, right? And it is on us to make sure that we get out of this crisis smoothly, not putting any more burden on the people, but also not creating chaos and disruption that would put people...
So,
see, like
Lakmali,
you said...
Lakmali, if you noticed...
Should be a break.
Lakmali, just one question and then I want to switch to Barath. Lakmali, I just want to understand now, during this rice owners meeting that President Anukumar Dissanayake chaired, he said that this is my final warning, something to that effect, not exactly the words that I'm saying. He said that if you don't come into line with the government vision, then I know what to do. However, it's been 2.5 weeks.
But since then it has improved. Since then, many rice mill owners
you went to a supermarket yesterday and you found that there was canned fish, but there was no rice.
No, I said I found canned fish.
But you didn't find rice.
You're doing the Nilanti touch on me.
No,
I did not say that.
But
I didn't say that.
You said canned fish was not. You said canned fish was available, but rice was not available.
I said there's a rice shortage in the country. That's
so
true.
Then
I didn't say I found rice shortages.
But what were the steps that was taken by President
So this is the thing. When there was, for a certain period of time, rice mill owners were not cooperating with the government. And they were not.
Are they cooperating
any
now?
Rice. Now, most of them are cooperating with the government. They are cooperating with the government, and if you can see, you can find rice at the control prices. There are certain shortages. We are not saying that everything is perfect, and we have taken measures to import rice just to make sure that there is rice available for everybody. And I think gradually the situation is improving. So if the rice mill owners were not cooperating with the government, we would have had to extend the government state arms, and we would have had to taken stronger measures on them.
But can't you do it now?
If we do it now, we have to, do you want people to face shortages again? I don't want to. The government doesn't want to.
Quickly address
so we have to make sure the government
I'll come back to your questions in a bit. I just want to... Barath.
Can I just... Barath. Now, this question is actually to both Neomal and Barath. A strong opposition is a requirement of democracy. But our opposition after the last election, it's in a shambles. Now, we've heard about this restructuring of the SJB and the SJB's alliances. But what, could you, in the interests of transparency, tell us exactly what these steps are? For example, the SJB, Neomal, what's the process inside to look at what went wrong and what needs to be done, and the restructuring. Because you can't, when you just say restructuring is a concept, but what has been done? Is there a committee? Who's on that committee? How soon can we see some results? And, it's not an internal SJB matter. The SJB is the largest opposition party. So, the people have a right to know what's going on within that. And also, where Barath comes in, you're an alliance partner. So, have you all been consulted? What's your role in this restructuring of the SJB and its alliances?
As far as our party itself is concerned, we are restructuring. We'll probably have results before the local government election. That will show where we are. Whereas people are concerned, how the our restructuring, whether it will be accepted or not.
But you all lost the cooperative elections at majority of the...
No, some were not, these nominations have been cancelled, certain issues like that. But there are places where we have won cooperatives as well. But restructuring of the party, we'll have to do it before, we'll be doing it before, hopefully doing it before local government, and then seeing how people will handle the election, and the election, how much of, how it will be positive or negative, whatever is. If that is negative, then we can restructure again and then go for the provincial council. At that time, we can adjust accordingly. It's at an election only we can see the results, whether it is good or bad, and of the restructure.
But this is not going to be like the Ranil Wickremesinghe committee.
Definitely not Ranil Wickremesinghe style. So, as far as the government is concerned, now Ms. Kottachi told, Honorable Kottachi told about Ugandan money, and she said subsequently that she's the one who told about the Kottachi issue.
But can we stick to the SJB?
Yeah, and she told that she knew that she was lying, that there was no money of Rajapaksas in Uganda. So let's not talk about
that Hirunika Hemachandra was the first, because she has been sent a letter of demand by the Ugandan embassy also on this.
So let's not talk about it. This is what I saw in
I have a question
social media.
From Neomal. Now, your leader Sajith Premdasa had been, giving the buses, school buses and smart classes before the election.
Classrooms, no?
Yeah, classroom. What happened to them? I mean, we haven't seen after the presidential election.
So he'll restart. It was 3 to 4 months of continuous elections. No, he will decide what to do because he was bringing it from his own funds, not from the party funds. So he'll decide on.
No, I thought they were from donors.
Yeah. His own funds, meaning donors.
Who are these donors? I mean, this has been repeated.
Very transparent. Everybody gets a receipt. If you can ask Ashok Leyland Company, they'll give the names of donors who have donated the buses, which were donated by Sajith to the schools. It's very transparent. Whatever he has been doing, that is, I can guarantee on that. So basically, what I'm trying to tell you is the major issues. You are giving Aswasum to say 2 million people or 150,000 people benefiting, 120,000 people benefiting from payee tax, but cost of living has increased more than 6,000 per month.
But tell me, Neomal, what would you all have done different?
We would have definitely controlled the rice price. We would have definitely controlled the coconut price. All this time, how was it controlled? How was it controlled? We won't wait till the last minute. Now, say for instance, salt. There's a huge shortage of salt. Now, pumping of to pump the salt, pump the seawater, it takes a year properly to get the salt out of the salt turns. It takes a year. Now the government is saying in March they are going to revamp the Elephant Pass salt turn, and they are going to get additional salt from the Elephant Pass, so there won't be a shortage. And on top of that, they are allowing state trading corporation to bring the salt. Whom are they going to distribute it to? Whom are they going to give it to? There is no network. So you can't go to state trading and you can't say they are going to give it through Satosa and cooperative only. Then it will again be restricted to number of kilos per person. 100% sure there will be a shortage of salt in time to come, because they are not giving the relevant people. And also the coconut price. Originally they brought. I mean, how can you bring coconuts to Narayanpeta and give Narayanpeta? Please let me finish. They brought it to Narayanpeta after. I saw it. I know.
Coconut Development Board does that every year.
No, they never do that. Because of the shortage, they brought it. I am in the coconut development.
Then you are responsible for the coconut shortage then.
How can I be responsible for the shortage? Your mismanagement, I am not. Your mismanagement, I can give you recommendations what to do to get out of it.
Okay.
But you are not prepared to listen.
Yeah, but we'll come back to that.
So it was now given to the Coconut Development Authority. Then they knew it's not viable. Then they gave it to the Satosa to give 3 coconuts each. So similarly, there is a shortage everywhere.
No, but
basically, it's mismanagement.
No, but
now they are blaming it on the government.
But during Gotabaya Rajapaksa,
they said they are not.
They have those rings, no?
There was never a shortage of coconut.
There was a shortage.
There was never a coconut shortage. It never went up more than 120 rupees in the history of Sri Lanka. And it never doubled. And it never doubled within 1 month.
Right.
It never doubled within 1 month.
Had a hyperinflation in between.
But it didn't double. You're lying.
120 at this point and 90 rupees
today,
at that point.
200. over 200 rupees.
I think
it'll hit 250 within 1.5 months.
Do you accept that there was hyperinflation?
No.
There was 90% food inflation in this country at one point, and those prices haven't completely gone down. No?
When did you take over? When did you know that the inflation and what did you do at that?
No, right. So Barath, I just want to
now are different.
So Barath, just want to understand now your party. What do you all have plans? So you all have 3 members now in Parliament, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. Digambaram is there, Radhakrishnan is there, Mano Ganeshan is there. Now you all have 3 members in Parliament. What sort of an impact do you all intend to create in Parliament?
Shamir, to answer your question and also Niresh's question both, the thing is, as an opposition, it's not about only blaming the government or just finding fault. As we had this discussion, we would have made more progressive discussion, but we were misdirected to this Kotachi's thing. So similarly, in the Parliament also, if you would have observed, for last couple of months, we were discussing various things rather than putting the country back in track. We were discussing about the doctorate issue, educational qualification, rather. Now, as a party, the Tamil Progressive Alliance and the Democratic People's Front, we are very much keen on understanding what are the policies of the government, especially by the President, on the minorities of the country, especially in the north and east, and also our Malayalam Tamil, Indian origin Tamils. President came to up country, he gave a wonderful speech pointing out that, if you need a servant for Colombo, you come and take a person.
That's before the election, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So he gave so much of wonderful words. Okay. Now, when I refer the ruling parties, especially the upcountry representative, they refer to their Hatton Manifesto. So when we go through the Hatton Manifesto, it has 5 pages and 7 topics. All the topics which we all know. We have land issue, we have housing issue, we have problems in women empowerment, we have problems in work. But there is no solution. We know the problem, everyone knows the problem, but there is no solution. Okay, so the solution should be given by the government, and we demand as a party, it should come from the Prime Minister and the President. Okay.
So we'll ask, so Barath,
So, and in answering Mr. Niresh's question, in the restructuring process, Mr. Niresh, we are not only, changing the heads, we are not talking about changing heads or the persons who are in responsibilities. We are thinking about the ideologies, how we should be very much transparent, how we should be very much vocal about our people's right, and how we can guide and suggest the government, yes, you should do like this. Okay, if there is a wage issue, how the government can address that. If there is a land issue, how the government can address that, we can suggest. So this will create a confidence among the constituents and the voters and the party members that, okay, this party is coming on right track. Okay, we can more trust on this party. So this is what we are looking at, and hopefully we have started that in district levels. We will do it in island-wide soon.
Right. So I just want to ask Dimitra. Now, Dimitra, there was a big ha-ho in the country in the last few weeks about reducing the security of former presidents, and Mahinda Rajapaksa we've seen his political party individuals, like even D.V. Chanaka, speaking about it. Has this something that has been spoken to the government by your political party in question? Because it has been reduced to 30 now.
In respect of any representations made to the government, I'm not too sure. But having said that, the decision to reduce security of any head of state from the required quantities and the required personnel, especially for a president who was instrumental in the conclusion of the war, whereas it was not reflective in terms of reduction of security for other persons who were involved in the war effort at the time. right? What
do you mean? I didn't get.
So, for example, you don't see the security being reduced for any other former. I actually don't want to disclose the names, but there are certain individuals, and in fact, it was during Tiranala's period that it was published that non-political individuals, a list of individuals or a number of individuals who have been provided security. And that has
been removed now.
Yeah, but that has not been addressed to the same extent that it has in terms of not all. There are still certain persons who.
But now, how much have security does Mahinda Rajapaksa have? Do you have any idea?
Currently, no, I don't have an idea. But having said that, in fact, your Minister of State Security has informed that they will be assessing it. But again, Shamir, these are things now. Just they'll run the costs and say this is the cost of the security. But the fact that personnel are being withdrawn doesn't mean that cost is not going to be incurred by the government. Not that these people are going to be thrown out of service. No, they'll just be reallocated. So the security of a person, and in fact, I think D.V. Chanak as well as Mr. Manoj Gamage, attorney at law, have reported on this. I'm not too versed with the subject, so I can't really talk about it much, but have spoken of certain threats that have come in since the reduction of security. So, and I think those are things that have been addressed to the government, but
we saw Sarath Fonseca talking about this drone attack and all that, and then he's laughed it off. Saying how can that happen, so reducing security, but in a very much more stronger light. I just want to ask you, Dimitra, we know and we are well aware, we've seen this in political platforms on many occasions as well, that security personnel that were deployed to the former president was used to their Tangol gardening work. To break coconuts, and now that is not something that we can allow.
No, but Samir, no. But what you have to understand is, right now, I mean, any person who works at home, right? I mean, these people are assigned as security. They stay on site. They have the freedom to, help out.
Coconuts.
No, so if they want to pluck a coconut,
but if they are assigned purposes of security, they can't be doing gardening.
No, not that they've been directed to do. How do you know if it was voluntary or involuntary?
No, but even if it's voluntary, they shouldn't be doing it because they are security. They can't be gardening.
Look, no.
If there is an attack on one of the former presidents, they can't be gardening.
How do you know that that was done while they were on duty? Because it could be very well during the time they're in their barracks. Now, for example, army camps, they don't clean those camps and do the maintenance of coal. While they're on active duty. They do that during PT time or when they're off duty. If you're being hold on, Samir, hold on. You always do this, right? If he does, right? If you're off duty, right? You're entitled to do what you want. And Niresh, whether it's pluck coconuts or whether it's scraping the coconuts, they have the freedom to do that. When you have a government representative saying that people have the right to lie,
we did not say.
People
cannot
go there.
You said that. Now you only said that.
Don't go there.
I think that's a freedom.
But Lakmali has answered that question. Let's not go to that again. It's about plucking coconuts.
I mean, let's be very clear. I did not say people have the right to lie. I do not want this to be twisted and reported anywhere.
Let's leave the subject aside for the moment. Okay, let's leave the subject to aside. But I am very serious about this coconut issue. Now, you're saying that if there are security forces personnel, no, listen to me, I'm not done yet. Security forces personnel assigned, let's say there are 5 security forces personnel assigned to me, for an example, Dimitra. So when they are off or when they're free, they can go to my garden and pluck coconuts. That's okay.
If you've given them permission,
that's okay. Right.
So look, Samir, let's.
I'm quite surprised.
Okay, Look back to a couple of years when a certain member of parliament, if you want the name, I'll say it. I just don't want to because
No, that's okay. You don't have to mention.
A member of parliament was interviewed showing his quarters at Madivela. He resides there with himself, his driver, as well as his personal security officer, while the other 2 or the other 3 are elsewhere. That particular MP cooks for them, and he said. In fact, in that little, when they show it, the driver is scraping the coconut, the other one's cutting something, and he said he generally cooks.
That's his private stuff.
No, that's not his private stuff. That was his assigned MSD officer and his driver. They're off duty. They're home, and this is he's single, right? So he cooks and these guys work together.
But I'm surprised. Let's leave this MP aside.
No.
Can you expect that caliber of quality from a former president like Mahinda Rajapaksa.
Samir, look, look, if you have evidence to say that President Rajapaksa instructed and directed these
So
people
they were
to pluck
plucking coconut
coconuts,
together, as you
yeah, look, this is when you talk about a garden, Samir, this is not like 2-3 coconuts. These, there's a lot of coconut trees there, right? The barracks are in a separate place. So whether one of these people climb up and plucks a coconut or two, or they want to clean the garden because that's the area they walk about. That's up to them. And also, clearing a garden, Samir, is also part of the responsibility, because what about certain security threats that can come? What about
responsibility of the security forces?
Yeah, in fact, they have to do the perimeter check. No? So when they do the perimeter check, if there's overgrowth, what? You think they're just going to walk over overgrowth?
And they clean it.
It's why not?
It's easy, no?
It's much easier. And also what.
But that's not the role of the security forces in Sri Lanka.
No,
probably somewhere else.
No, Samir, look.
In the guidelines of a security force person in Sri Lanka, there is no.
Like I asked you, when you're talking about guidelines, Samir, are you saying that they were directed? Do you have proof to say that they were directed and they did these things? They did these things while they were on duty.
This is what the other parties are saying.
So then they have to justify it. But you seem to be hell bent on the fact that they were on duty and in uniform, fully ironclad with the weapons and all that, cutting grass and plucking coconuts. No, Samir, come on.
No, you can't pluck coconuts with.
No, that's what I'm saying. So these guys are in their track bottoms and their t-shirts. They're off duty. They're free to do whatever they want.
Yeah, Lakmali, I want to ask now, in your initial, opening remarks, you said about we need price controls. Now, we have experience due to price controls, there are, black markets for gas, rice, especially now Nadu rice, sugar, wheat in the past. Do you want to repeat the same thing again because of the price control?
Price controls are necessary for essential commodities, right?
There is no economic theory as such.
Exactly.
No, I mean, there is economic theory.
There is no economic theory.
I will tell you that. Not Marxism. This is heterodox economics. During the economic crisis, during the COVID crisis, after the COVID crisis, right? There's a German economist called Isabella Weber. She talks about seller's inflation, which means when few people can control the market, right? When few people can control the market, which happened during in the oil industry at that point, because there are only few major players in the oil industry. She talks about how general prices of the whole world went up because few people could control the oil prices, right? And then she suggests that there has to be price controls on these oil companies to make sure that general price levels are not going up everywhere in the world. So this affected our country as well. In 2022, much of what happened in Sri Lanka was because of the increased oil prices, right? So they actually implemented this in Germany. Part of it was implemented in Germany and oil prices were controlled. So it is not fair to say that price controls are never implemented anywhere. Oh, it's Marxism.
No, I'm not saying,
Marxism has nothing to do with price controls.
I'm not saying price controls are not implemented anywhere. But the experience we have in Sri Lanka is whenever there is a price control, there is a black market and the prices go up beyond the price control level.
This is the thing. Price controls have to be complemented with other economic measures which will increase the productivity and the competitiveness of the market, which hasn't happened for the previous let's say the past decade or so. So what we have done is we have only used price controls, which is why we were very reluctant to enforce the price controls.
It has never worked so far in Sri Lanka.
No, this is what I'm saying. When you use price controls as a legal measure without trying to do any other measures that is required
the other measures? That's why I'm asking.
So this is what we are trying to do. What we are trying to do is control the market through increasing the market productivity. Right? Rice, the main issue with the rice market is it doesn't have productivity. It doesn't have productivity because the market is not organized properly. Few players can capture the market because everybody else is not organized properly. So what we need to do is we need to make sure that every player can play on a fair ground, right? Not just the state. State has to put some support behind it to make sure that it happens. But this is not to say that the state will control the whole rice market. We can empower small and medium suppliers, producers, bring them to a position where they can actually compete on a fairer level with the major players, with the 5 major players as we already know, right? Because the share that they control in the market is not that.
So I have a question for you, Lakmali, from one of our viewers. You speak about wanting a time period. How much time does the NPP want to show tangible progress?
What tangible progress on what? Because we have already shown, as you said, we have already removed.
Lakmali, I'll just quickly.
We have already removed. It was a major promise we made that we will remove. Security for unnecessary security for former presidents and former ministers and so on, right? Especially former presidents. We have delivered on that already within the first 3 months.
You just identified the problem, Lakmali, in terms of saying the rice shortage. This is what needs to be done, but you all have not provided a tangible solution as to how it's done.
During the
now,
past
for example,
cabinet,
like Mr.
during
Perera
the last
brought up,
week's
1 minute,
cabinet.
hold on. Like Mr. Perera brought up, there is a salt shortage. Right? Now, the Lanka...
Can I answer the rice shortage?
No, hold on. Now, rice shortage also you all are importing. Now, salt shortage. We are an island nation and you all are deciding to import salt from India if necessary.
Yeah.
Right? So, how you all have... Import seems to be the answer to everything.
No, we are not
you all
saying
have not
that.
put forward
I don't
one
know,
policy
Dimitra,
statement.
you were in government for 20 years.
I was not in government for 20 years. So you think I was about 5, 6,
this is
10 years
hilarious for me.
when I was in
It's
government.
ridiculous for me that you can answer. You can ask me this question. Import was your policy.
No.
Import was your policy.
Salt import.
That's why we have to.
Salt import was made. That statement was made today.
See, we had floods in Putlam.
Then you're talking about malnutrition, but you all shut down 3 portions.
We did not shut down 3
You all
portions.
don't have answers
We
to
did
these
not
questions.
shut down 3 portions. These are again, you should be informed about what's happening in the country. We did not shut down 3 portions.
He doesn't have a solution for the rice.
Rice shortages. Just yesterday, I think, or day before yesterday, there was a cabinet paper to provide low interest loans for small and medium rice producers, because we are taking steps on, because we are anticipating what is going to happen next year, and we are taking steps on developing programs and strategies on how to tackle that, right? Salt shortage, we did not create any of these shortages. Let me be very clear about this. It's ridiculous for me that
there's always blame.
No, not blaming. We didn't create it.
No, we are not blaming the government. Now, now since it is a shortage this year and there is no, as you correctly said, there is less production. Now the government has decided to import rice.
Yeah, because at this moment, that is the only thing that we can do.
You have to, come across with some mitigation.
Even though we are ideologically not aligned with that position, right?
So
we're doing
why there is a, high tax for the importation?
Because we see...
At this juncture?
At this juncture, because when we import rice, if we remove the tax and import rice, there is a possibility that rice producers inside the country will be affected. Right? And we cannot, because import is not our policy, as Dimitra says, we do not want to import rice every year. No. We have to protect the rice producers in the country.
I understand.
Right?
I understand.
So anything above the price...
So it is a very temporary solution.
Of course, yes.
So for this temporary solution, why we are looking at a high tax income?
It's to keep the price in line with the production costs of the rice mill owners here.
No, that's true. I understand. Now, just
small, medium, and large. Especially the small and medium.
Now, see, if there is a rice importer in Colombo, if he or she want to pay a high tax and bring down the rice, he or she may not engage in this business though. Yeah. So, why don't you suggest the government, until such period for this to supply the demand? Why don't you consider bringing down the tax for the rice?
See, Barath, what we are trying to do is we have set a price control on imported rice as well, which is 220 rupees, right?
But it's not in the market.
No. See, this is the, if we bring it down further, if we allow importation, of rice, that's of course we can't control whether it comes with gullo or not. If we can only quality control and reject it, right?
$130 landed cost.
That's true, yeah. So what is your point?
If you bring down the tax like Barath
then it will sell at 170.
So you don't want to sell
and
price?
Then our small and medium producers can't live at that price.
Like you said, this is a temporary solution.
I think you are talking a
drive up competition.
Because they are already in debt.
No, that's
true.
Already
in heavy debt.
That's true. You are talking a completely different topic here, which is highlighting the inefficiency of our rice producers, isn't it?
That's what I'm saying. Productivity. I mean, exactly. I don't want to say that it's
inefficiency of the market.
Inefficiency of the market, actually, right? It is. We have to increase the productivity of the whole industry. Because the problem we have is the distribution is not efficient.
What the Lakmali and NPP should realize now here, as she correctly pointed out, SLPP here, UMP here. So they rule the country, SJB here. They rule the country for decades. So they created these issues. Lakmali correct that. People gave a massive mandate to change it for them. So now they can't just blame.
We are not.
We don't.
I don't want to.
For a moment. Lakmali. Just for a moment.
Blaming anyone.
I just want to say this. Now, once again, now he's lucky. We know a few months ago they were, as you correctly said, they were not even coming to this kind of discussion. Now they started to come. SJB also like that. Why they are now gradually
always came to
now this room has been created by the NPP. That's what we are worried about that, because rice issue is concerned. SLPP did the same thing. They imported. They sponsored these 5 families. SJB also did that.
SJB didn't even govern the country.
No, we know about you as well. SJB, no, you are not what they did for this country. So these 5 families, Ratna, Aralio, they sponsored for their election. Government sponsored for them to carry out these monopolies. That is what they did. NPP also is doing the same thing. That's why we are worried. President asked them to come to the table and said 230. That is the price they expected. Because the
previous price was 220.
That is the price. So the president gave the rubber stamp
before the election
to carry on the monopoly. Import also not solution. Then what's the solution? You have to break these monopolies.
How do we break the monopoly? I would really like to, because I'm open to ideas right now. Right? How do we break the monopoly?
Now you are talking about shortages. Did your officers or consumer affairs authority went to their mills and get some kind of calculation?
Of course they did. They're still doing it.
Tell to the society.
In terms
of agriculture department statistic, Yala and Maha, the cultivation is concerned, the crops contain 28 million metric tons available, should be there in their mills. That is sufficient for 14 months. There's no shortage. They are artificially doing that. If this government is so, that's what the people expected from this government.
Yeah, but
you must rate there. You you measure how much mills their price available.
You are advocating tougher measures against these families.
You can't satisfy these families. You can't satisfy at the simultaneous. You can't satisfy farmers. Simultaneously, you can't satisfy the consumers. That's the issue before the NPP.
I think a good government. I do not agree with this.
Since NPP is misselling that, the SLPP, SJB, who created the issue, now slowly coming up and trying to advise government. So you give a solution.
We have talk show.
Whether you get the measurement, whether you have a calculation, how much stock available with
Arullsamy. To be fair, by NPP and Lakmali, I mean, there was a cabinet decision yesterday to empower the small and medium rice millers. With 50 million loans.
People also do the same thing, but as long as that monopoly is break.
Anyway, the farmers, the 5 families were came because all the stores that were built by the government control were set fire by the JVP at that time, all of the members at that time.
And the small and medium enterprises were being purchased by the
and it took them 20 years to build another storage facility.
Just to add to what Nuwan said, right? Now, Lakmali very beautifully said, how do you break the monopoly? Now, the president, when he sat down these big rice mill owners, he said, either do this or we will take the next step. So, meaning they have a next step. In respect of the monopoly. So why aren't they taking that step?
So because I think I already answered this, Dimitra. No, I do not believe in Mr. Bopage's position.
In order to demonopolize the rice mill owners.
I find it very hilarious when you say this representing SLPP about rice mill owners, first of all. Second of all,
please do shed some light.
Second of all, we do not believe that you have to strike down producers to take the side of the consumers and the farmers.
Of course.
We do not see that as a solution, right? We want everybody to cooperate in a harmonious system within regulations and within necessary incentives for everybody to be productive in the process, right?
Agreed.
And we see a problem in the way with which this process has been carried out in under the previous regimes, right? I'm not blaming anybody. I'm just identifying the problem.
Agreed.
And we are taking steps to cure that. right? So this is why we are reforming the storage facilities.
Yeah, but it
this
takes
is why,
time, Dimitra.
Yeah, we can't do it overnight.
You can't do it overnight.
We can't do it
No,
overnight.
I'm not saying overnight.
We
But
have
There is no overnight solution for this problem, and we have admitted
back
that.
to
I don't
square
think
one.
it's...
They've identified the problems, right? Demonopolization. But she herself said, how do you demonopolize? Then on the other hand, she
No,
said,
I
we
did
have
not
the
say
solution.
that. I said right now, within the next
No, before
week.
you asked Nuwan, you said, how do you demonopolize?
Because he's asking us to break the monopoly within this week. Which we can't
No,
do.
he didn't say that. He didn't say that. That's not that. He didn't say
Whether
that.
your officers or consumer affairs authority
We have
into these mills
consumer affairs
and
authorities
give
are
the
already going to the
statistics,
mills.
how many stocks
They are
available,
already placed in the mills. That's why the rice is coming out. That's why the rice is coming out. If the officers are not at the mills, the rice won't be coming out. This is what I said. The rice mill owners, to a certain level, are cooperating with the government.
Right. Okay.
Keeping that price.
Right. So
They are
let's leave the rice issue also aside. Let the people decide, because we are just keeping on discussing about one subject and spending a little bit too much of time on that. So I just want to ask the five of you. Now, 2025 is going to be a very decisive year. Dimitra, it's not going to be an easy year because we know a lot of problems are going to be there. Now we know for a fact that on the 1st of February, the vehicle imports are going to flow into the country. As a result of that, the US dollar, even now as we speak, is facing a volatility in the market as well. How do you think the government should intend to address these problems in the longer run? Because Lakmali, in one of her statements, said that she's willing to listen to you all. So
I mean, we are always willing to listen to anybody.
So let this be an opportunity for you all to view your thoughts about 2025.
So I would say, Shamir, and I think the NPP would also benefit from it, is to strategize and identify the key indexes that need change and the key areas. For example, while I'm very happy about the importation, I don't think that was a very good decision, and I believe, in fact, I think one of the very few people that believe that a budget that's going to be favoured by the larger community in Sri Lanka is not going to be favourable in the long run, because I think you'll agree with me that certain decisions that the government needs to take in order to set this country on the right track will not be favourable decisions, and they will not be
LSSP position. I'm shocked.
And they will not be decisions that will make the community comfortable in the short term. We know this. The mentality of our people is, you give them a short-term solution, they'll jump at it. So I believe that the NPP, I believe the NPP, as a government, will need to step away from considering how they're going to win the next election in terms of bringing policy forward, because the way I personally see it, certain policies that are going to be brought forward, certain center-left policies, certain socialist policies that are going to be that should be brought forward, will not be favoured in the short term.
No, but
and I can have a discourse with you on this personally.
Dimitra, when you look at the way in which how this government has progressed itself for the last 3 months, you can see some tough decisions are being taken, because we've had on this very show individuals like Professor Anil Jayanta, Harshan Surya Peruma, Chaturanga Abeysekara, Dr. Harini, all of them saying that the pay tax threshold is going to be increased from 100,000 to 200,000, but they did not do that. They're taking, they're biting the hard pill, swallowing that bullet at the end of the day.
No, I think he's meaning the exact opposite of that.
No.
They're taking
I don't mean the opposite of that.
Okay.
I mean that.
Yeah, so they're taking a tough stand. They're not just thinking about the next election. They're trying to put the country on the right track.
Then it goes back to what Nuwan also said. Those hard pills that are being swallowed, there's justifiable reasons to say that is the government being strong-armed by external forces.
So, Dimitra, do you believe that we should go in the direction of what IMF is suggesting furthermore?
No, I'm saying...
Because I don't believe that.
No, I'm saying y'all are taking these decisions, certain hardline decisions, not because y'all want to, but because they're external forces.
So Lakmali, you don't have to ask a question from them every single time they make a remark, because because then it's going to be a little bit confrontation.
Sorry, I apologize.
So
No, not at all.
Okay. So I want to ask.
Apology for a few things.
Just one question, Lakmali.
From Lakmali.
You.
Lakmali, you're getting a lot of questions. I'm telling you, you know why? Because now you're in government.
No, I was interested in the line.
Because those days when you came, you were in the opposition.
Yeah.
It was easy for you.
I'm happy to answer. That's
No, you just want to get the record straight.
In your initial remarks, you touched about this. The Indian dependency is inevitable now because we have
not just India, creditors, right?
Yeah. I mean, India is the largest creditor at the moment, right? What's the strategy of the NPP government for geopolitics that's prevailing in Sri Lanka now?
I think we are taking the non-aligned position, right? In terms of especially in terms of considering what is happening in the rest of the world, in the Middle East and so on. I think it's very important for Sri Lanka to take a non-aligned position that doesn't let any external party use this country use the country in a proxy war situation, right? So we are we are very aware of that, and we are trying to avoid that, and we are committed to avoiding that. So we have to, but then when it comes to external countries, whether it's India, China, European Union, or South Africa, or African Union, we have to be very open to discussing with them. Whatever they want to discuss, we have to be very open to discussions. But what we agree on and what we take forward is entirely up to our country. And that will be decided in the interest of national interest, right? I think what has changed in terms of diplomacy within the past, I think with the arrival of the NPP government is, even other countries are now aware that personal perks given to politicians are not going to sway the government in favor of projects and investments and so on, right? So you have to show how this will actually benefit the country as a whole. Then we are willing to consider any proposal and in any project. We are not dogmatic on what we want to take forward. We are not sticking to our very strong positions on what we want to take forward. We are very open to discussion, but there has to be very accessible and very specific benefits to the country and the people.
But in that context,
about the Adani project, what's the position?
Adani project is, it's we have already, I think.
Signed and you're going to go ahead?
No, we haven't signed on it.
No,
we haven't. No, we haven't. The former government
did
sign. We are reviewing that process. We are reviewing that project.
No, on the same context, Lakmali, now there is a 1987 Indo-Lanka Accord, right? Yeah. According to that, we have to consider the Indian Indian Ocean security issues, and we have to basically deal with India. Now, that has been kind of used controversially against other countries, especially China, right? In this Chinese research vessel, it has been used again and again, and now I think that yesterday the ban was relaxed, right? And now we are going to get the same request,
case by case
right?
Position,
Yeah. Now, how you are the main coalition partner of NPP, which is JVP, basically went against the Indo-Lanka Accord in 1987, and the rest is history. Now, what's the position on that? How are you going to deal with that?
On China-India conflict or India,
because you need to basically give a special consideration for India.
So this was discussed, this maritime security issue was the researchers and so on. I think it was discussed during the India visit as well, where we stressed that we are not allowing Sri Lankan land to be used against India in terms of their security, right? But what ships come to the country and how do we deal with that? That I think is within the sovereign right of our country. And that is going to be decided case by case, because we can't ban certain countries from entering our sea when they have ports and so on also here. So it can become a bit problematic for our country. That is not an unaligned position, in my opinion. We have to be fair by every country. And China has been a very long-term friend of Sri Lanka as well. So we can't completely, we can't cut ties with, I don't think India is also, India, China, to be very fair, India-China relations have also improved within the last year, right? And the BRICS is developing. I think there will be further cooperation between these countries as we go on. So there is no need for us to be a pawn between India or China, and I don't think they are highly expecting that also from this government. I think what has happened is our previous regimes have tried too much in terms of trying to please these countries and deliver too much to them without negotiating properly. And that won't happen under an NPP government. We are very aware of our sovereign rights, our people's sovereignty, and national interest is number one concern for us.
So one of the other questions that Barath posed to the NPP was Lakmali. Many come and talk about problems. The problems are very evident. We don't want to talk about problems anymore. We want to talk about solutions. What are the solutions in 2025 that the NPP government is going to give to the plantation communities in Sri Lanka?
So I think those will be suggested in the budget in terms of wages and so on. There will be certain proposals, Barath. And I mean, I don't want to disclose it right now, but there are certain proposals being made. And I mean, on the plantation community, I think we are very open to discuss solutions, and we are very open to discuss proposals with the representatives of those. I mean, we are not in a position that, you know, only our representatives should be talking about it, because there has been long-term representation of those people in these communities. So I think these are, and I mean, out of all the questions that was highlighted on this table, I really think the problem of the plantation community, the Malaya Tamil people, is a serious problem, and we have to deliver on that. That's something.
FSP by your letter suggested at least daily wages should be increased to 2,000.
Yeah,
whether there's a possibility of having such a...
That has to be decided with the employers. That's how wages are decided in the plantation sector.
Now, budget is you are going to have...
Yeah. So there will be... At the moment, we haven't initiated any discussion with the plantation employers. But I think if you're going to raise it to the level of 2,000 rupees, that has to be decided with the plantation employers.
At least 1,700, you can't tell.
I mean, I don't know the number, to be honest. I don't know the number, but there will be certain concessions given to the plantation community is a concern that we have, and that will be...
Lakmali, you spoke about this rice and the gullu issue that...
I didn't.
No,
I just said we can't stop gullu. We can only stop them from quality control.
But technically, Lakmali, being in the import-export sector, you can control it.
Yeah, I mean,
so how you can control it? You can do a sampling.
Yeah.
By SGS or by Intertech or before shipment, and get them to do the quality test beforehand and then send it. So that's how even Sri Lankan tea is being exported to countries like
I'm sure these have been done, Shamir, but there are always containers that comes. I mean, I don't think every container that's quality control comes with the same goods.
Every container that goes from Sri Lanka to countries
so we are not
like
allowing
Saudi
it to.
Arabia
We are not allowing it to enter the country, no?
Quality control.
No, that's true.
Has to get a COC.
That's true. Quality control is the norm, and we are adhering to all those rules and all of that. But we cannot stop the importer from trying to send something illegally to the country. What we can do is to stop them from entering the country, which we have done.
But technically.
So that's what I said. We can only quality control.
We can as a country. Yeah. If we tell India before they send the shipment to do a certificate of conformity.
I'm sure they have.
Labs, but
I'm sure they have.
They wouldn't have found gullu
I'm sure they have. I'm not saying that. I'm sure they have, but still there is a possibility of this freight coming to the country. That at that point we can only reject it. Right. I mean, if there has been any lapse on that, I'm open to criticism on that and learning on that. But I don't think that has happened.
There's one point to address such issues, because even if when there are consignments that come to Sri Lanka, those are sent to the government analyst department. In terms of import-export sector in the world, these are highly regulated ways in which, like example, when teas are being exported to countries like Saudi Arabia, you have to do an E. coli test. If the E. coli is growing more than 3%, it can't be sent.
So Shamir, what I'm trying to say is, if this is already part of the rules and regulations of the system in our country, it must have been implemented, right? This is.
So I'm just saying.
Because I don't know the specifics of this.
But just responding to one of the questions. So I just want to give each and every speaker the final 3 minutes. Let's not talk about the rice issue. Let's not talk about Let's not talk about
Mismanagement.
not mismanagement. You can talk about it. You can talk about all that, but let's not talk about the rice tree because we discussed that in length. We spoke about some of the parliamentarian statements. Let's not talk about security of
You were the one
former
who seemed to be
presidents.
so
Not
concerned
anymore.
about
Not
it,
anymore.
Samir.
No, I don't want to talk about all this because we discussed this in length. So I want to give an opportunity for each speaker in their last 3 minutes to talk about the future.
Yes.
Because as political parties, we know the SJB is going through a rough time in terms of restructuring the party, looking at it more outwardly right now. So I want to talk to all 5 of you. But before that, Dimitra, I have to ask you this question.
Of course you do.
LSSP now, who is the General Secretary?
So there is a legal dispute there, Shamir, and it's before court. But currently, in terms of the party faction that I'm representing, we have recognized Professor Dr. Tissa Vitarana as the General Secretary of the party.
But I just want to ask you this question again, Dimitra. Now, I've known Professor Tissa Vitarana for 21 years of my life as
I'm
a
sure
journalist.
Niresh has known him for longer.
knows
Much longer.
much
Yes.
longer. And
Yes.
we've had Professor Tissa Vitarana coming on the show and talking about, even during COVID, Niresh, he's one of the experts in that respect.
Yes, he's a
so he came
senior
on the
virologist.
show, virologist, and he was attached to the UN as well.
Yes.
And he came and spoke very, very eloquently. But don't you think it's time to let go? Because even the ITAC, for an example, in the last stages, Mr. Sambandhan withdrew from the party leadership role. So don't you think it's time now?
No, I fully agree, Shamir, and I think almost all the parties are in unison in terms of the fact that the youth are now coming forward, and in fact that has been discussed at several Politburo and Central Committee meetings of our party in terms of prepping the youth, and we've had certain individuals, as with all parties, that have prevented certain juniors from coming up. So I think in due time that will take place, and that is a strong stance that even the LSSP is taking in terms of bringing forward the youth.
There are no constraints to the young Dimitra Abeysekara.
Always putting people on the spot, no, Shamir. No, there are no constraints. But having said that, I'm not someone that's trying to look at certain roles,
Part leadership.
or certain roles or anything. It's about working together, and putting forward things. And in fact, in my final 3 minutes, when you give that, I'll say that.
So I
now.
just want to ask you, Dimitra, before I give you that last 3 minutes.
Yeah.
The LSSP is one of the oldest.
The oldest.
The oldest.
It is the oldest political
the
party.
oldest
In fact,
political party in
Mr. Perera said it was
Sri
the
Lanka.
UNP.
But what befell the party in the last few years? I'm not talking about, because you all were very strong party with the Mahinda Rajapaksa administration between 2005 and 2015.
And actually before that, even with Mrs. Kumaratunga's administration from 94.
94, yeah.
So I will tell you,
But
Shamir,
it's very sad, no? Such a grand old political party.
I agree, and I think even Honorable Ms. Hemachandra will agree. Almost 90% of the socialist policies that are there today were brought forward by our forefathers. But for whatever reason, I think there was, and this goes back to the fact of coalitions, because a lot of people who were members of this party way before, when I was probably just a, toddler, were discouraged in terms of the fact of a lack of representation being provided to them. And a lot of members of the LSSP went to other factions and other parties. And when you look at it, I'm still surprised when I meet certain senior members of other parties who say their beginnings were with the LSSP. So yes, it is quite sad. But having said that, when you say that we played a critical role in terms of our position in the Rajapaksa administration, I've said this before, and that is why, in fact, I was very critical about the NPP during the election, is a single party government and the dangers that it brings in terms of what happened with the UNP and the executive presidency. But the LSSP members who have been part of coalitions from 94 up to the last government were always very critical in government. They have walked out of cabinet meetings, they have voted against, and we've always got singled out for that. But having said that, it is sad, but let's hope that, take the NPP for an example. If they were able to come up from the 3%, let's hope that there is, a possibility of rising from the ashes.
But to be very honest, Dimitra, that 3% is not even in the cards anymore.
No,
you can't even.
No,
you can't even make a parallel.
No,
because the rise of the NPP has been just remarkable story for any political party.
Absolutely.
Right. So your final 3 minutes.
Yes. First of all, let me start off by apologizing to Honourable Lakmali. I will state it. At no point did you say that anybody has the right to lie.
Yeah. Thank you.
And I will say that about your statement here today, right? And having said that, Samir, in terms of 2025, I believe opposition parties, alliance parties, whatever, need to strengthen themselves in terms of criticizing the government, because we've seen what weak oppositions can do. We can see what a weak opposition is doing. And I believe that the government needs to take certain hardline decisions. And despite, again, Honourable Lakmali assuming that I meant the adverse of what I meant. No, that's fine. As opposed to what she thought I meant certain decisions that have been taken by the government. If there are decisions that have been taken without an external force driving them to do so, that's fantastic. And I think the people's mandate was in line with, better Sri Lanka. And as you all are now saying, a clean Sri Lanka. Whatever it is, maybe not cater to winning the next election, but actually bringing forward feasible change, which I hope will benefit the entire country. And having said that, I think the role of every single political aspirant and every single political critic in Sri Lanka is not to form enemies with the government, because as we've seen in the last couple of decades, the opposition has always criticized, and I think Mr. Perera, you will in your seniority also know, criticized every single decision taken by a government. But the role of an opposition and the role of political critics like Samir here is not to completely put someone in a corner and to make life difficult, but it's to promote healthy debate. So like I said, there are certain things I'd like to have a discourse with you on, because I think it'll benefit mutually. So I would say, let's hope that 2025, today is the 1st, let's hope that by 2026 on the 1st, if we are all fortunate enough to be back here, or afterwards, let's hope for the very best for Sri Lanka. And like I told you when we were in the waiting area, I mean, we all live here. Nobody wants to tank a country. I don't think anybody takes a decision to intentionally take bad decisions while in government. So let's hope for the best, and let's hope that this year brings about the prosperity we've all desired.
Right. Thank you very much, Dimitra Abeysekara from the SLPP.
Most welcome. Samir from MTV. TV1.
Dimitra, but I must tell you something about Lakmali. She's a very grounded individual.
Absolutely.
She's been, I've been knowing her as a journalist for the last couple of years. So she's a very grounded individual from the NPP. And when she was elected to the national list from the NPP, I was very humbly happy to see such young talent coming into play. And so
thank you.
We'll leave it at that.
I would fully agree.
Thank
right. So now let's move to Nuwan Bopage from the People's Struggle Alliance. But Nuwan, I want to ask you a few questions before your last 3 minutes. About revamping political parties. I asked you this question before as well. How important is it for political parties, especially taking a cue for a political party like the PSA now? What is the future aspirations of your political party in the short, medium and the long term?
Actually, there's no gap between the people's aspiration and our political party's aspiration, because we are doing everything for the sake of the people. So right now, actually, we believe that people's decision to give power to the NPP is a radical decision. So we respect that. There's a lot of aspiration behind that. So for the moment, we are doing politics to somehow bring this NPP to the track and somehow push them to implement certain things for the sake of people's aspiration. So our politics is right now, it's based on that.
Right. So just for me to understand, Nuwan, who is the leader of your political party now? People's Struggle
Alliance is an alliance.
Is there a leader or a general secretary?
Lanka is a general secretary.
Okay, there is no leader.
There's no leader.
Okay, so have you all discussed about restructuring the party or of anything of that sort?
Necessary. There's no necessity to restructure the party, but we have to change our certain strategies to address certain issues. And
so now you said here on this very show that you all want to give a little bit of time for the NPP in terms of their governance as far as the next few years is concerned. How much of time are you talking about?
No, I didn't tell like that. I
You
tell
said
whether they take time or not is immaterial. As long as they represent the majority of this country, working class of this country. So we are always ready to work with them and assist them to go ahead.
So you are ready to work with them and assist them?
Of course. Now, even before the budget, we have sent a letter. These are the suggestions from the side of workers and other segments of the society. So that's how we are going to coordinate.
But you all are going to progressively engage with them?
Exactly. Main thing is we are always believing the people's aspiration is the most important things. They have to deliver for them.
Right. So 2025.
Yes.
What are the aspirations?
Of course, now 2024, as I said, people took a radical decision. Now government has to deliver certain things. So, for instance, now one thing is clear, even these debates, now they are very amenable, so they are ready to bow down in front of IMF. They are very benevolent before the India, and they are very benevolent and they are very comfortably working with the capitalist class of this society. Their advisors are concerned represented in that particular class. So therefore, that is the way that government is going. So we have a duty as a political party and general public how to get the same thing for the sake of the people. Whether this government should be ready to bow down in front of the people, the working class of this country, then only we can win certain things for the sake of the people. For instance, as I said, as far as the ETF issue is concerned, whether we should get the maximum benefit out of the ETF, irrespective of this domestic debt restructuring. So we have to fight for that. Even the tax concessions are concerned, the majority is suffering. They were unable to reduce the VAT. So we have to fight for that. There are certain things like that. Parate law is concerned, they should abolish that. They should immediately do that. So we have to fight for abolish the PTA. We have to actually fight for somehow abolish other draconian laws like Online Safety Act. So, and how to give a proper solution, as he said, regarding Malayalam Tamil and Tamil people, what would be the political solution, whether it's 13th Amendment or going beyond that. We have to fight for that. So therefore, as far as these things are concerned, 2024 is a very important year. So don't let government to go in based on their whim and fancies. We have to fight, somehow get the maximum benefit out of this government. Otherwise, some other factors who ruin this country, like maybe SLFP, SJB, they might try to criticize this government and get the advantage that. So we are not ready to go to that extent. We want to push and somehow get the benefit out of that. Otherwise, we have to go for another alternative. So we are ready to give leadership to that alternative.
Thank you very much, Nuwan Bopage from the People's Struggle Lands. Now I move my attention towards Barath Arullsamy, the Vice President of the Democratic People's Front. Barath, before your 3 minutes, I just want to ask you a few questions as well.
Yeah.
Now, we speak very much about the plantation sector workers. What is the daily wage that you all envisaged for the plantation sector community in Sri Lanka? Because right now it's 1,300, right?
Now, Mr. Amir, now, to be very frank with, now this daily wage model is a totally outdated model, which is my personal opinion. So, SJB or TPA as a SJB alliance made a very clear statement that, this tea plantation workers has to be transformed into small tea holders. That is the end goal. That cannot be done overnight. But there should be a process. So in this process, we are looking at how the tea plantation worker and the tea consumer, everyone of this stakeholders of this industry should come together and be a partner of this entire industry.
Like a stakeholder model.
Yeah, exactly. So now the plantation, since some plantation companies, they have introduced the outgrower model. So which is, in one way it maybe seems to be beneficial, but in the labor perspective it is very much detrimental on their job security. So that we are going to suggest the government and also the tea industry that how we can use a tea partner model, which can be eliminate the regimental method of modality and more attractive working environment. So this is our aspiration. So for that we are.
I just tried. Just make it a little bit simpler for me to understand about.
So now,
what is the model you are suggesting?
Yeah,
you are saying about an outgrower model. I don't want.
It is not an outgrower model.
What is the model that you are
suggesting? So the model is where a worker should have. It's not on bushes. Now this outgrower model at the moment is like divided into bushes. If I am a worker, I will get 1,000 bushes. That is my plot. I should work, and the entire deciding factor will be held by the management, and there is no subsidy, no guarantee of work, everything. And in some companies we have seen the workers has to be given the VRS, and they have to work in the.
So what is
our plan is very simple. People should be given on land quantity. It's not acreage, not as ownership. But the ownership will rest with the state and the plantation companies. But they should have a feel and ownership of the land. So the productivity will come to them. Because
tell me an example that it has been done anywhere in the world.
Mr. Shamir, like anywhere in the world, Sri Lanka is itself an example. Sri Lanka itself is an example. Mr. Shamir, if you can see in some plantation companies. If you take,
now let's take Kenya for an example. Let's take India for an example. China for an example. Indonesia. They have big acreages of tea.
Yes. Now I am not saying now if you give one worker who is interested in tea plantation, if you give 1 acre or 1.5 acre with their there is a thing called a field where they will every cycle they pluck good leaf. So those guaranteed are given, and subsidies and fertilizers are given to that worker and empower them to become a tea smallholder. Let's put it in a nutshell. In this country, nearly 75% of tea production is empowered by since you are also connected with tea, you are well aware, by the tea smallholders. The quality of the tea is ensured by the tea plantation companies. Okay, so now what I am looking at is now also the mass production and also the quality.
Right.
If you're giving the upskilling for that, so we will submit by end of this month or next month. We will submit a proposal to all the media and also the government, also the tea industry. Okay, this is our suggestion.
Right. So I have a question for you, Barath. Now, you were with the CWC for a very long time. How long was it?
It is 4 years.
4 years. You are now with the TPA and the DPF.
Yes.
What you couldn't do while you were at the CWC, what makes you think that you can do this while being in the DPF and being in the opposition in Parliament?
Mr. Shamir, being in power or not, it's immaterial for the vision we have. Why we seek power and endorsement from the people to make things easy. If we are vocal enough and we have the striving, if we have the vision and the process for that, wherever you stand, you can do the work.
Yeah, because why I'm asking you this, Barath, is I have seen for 21 years as a journalist, Niresh for much longer, Shihar for much longer, the problems of the plantation communities is being sold by political parties in the plantation sector over and over again for their own benefit. They don't want to see a light end of the tunnel as well for the plantation sector. I feel that no political party wants this problem solved. They want it to fester, and this won't be fresh always.
Shamir, I agree with you, but the thing is, I don't want to comment about how the early stages worked. I'll give a very brief. No. Yeah, that's what I'm coming. I'll give a very brief summary of our history. I have already stated that from 1948 to 2002, our community, our priority was to become the citizen of this country. Okay, and 1960s we were like repatriated. 1970s and 80s, all these insurgencies, all these civil rights came across. 90s the same. We wanted to secure ourselves from the war. So our development era kickstarts from 2002-2005. So we were concerned about our housing, our education, our well-being and healthcare. You won't believe.
Since 2002, what have you?
No, that's what I'm saying. In 2018, Mr. Shamir, after the Local Government Act, the government can directly go and do work projects in the estate sector. Until such then, from 1992 to 2018, like the institute which I was chairing, the Plantation Human Development Trust, only can do work in the plantation sector. You can't blame one political party or group of political parties. It is the governments who came consequently, who were part of the government.
But it's very progressive now. People like Digambaram from your party, from the estate community itself. People like Ambika from the estate community as well. They've come into political ranks. Now they can transform.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. Now
you are representing a political party which is representative of those individuals. So you can do much better
exactly. Now. We have more chance in a democratic perspective. So there are leadership we can convince and make them listen. So that we can do many things which cannot be in a rigid perspective.
Right. 2025.
Shamir, 2025. It's a suggestion for the government also. There are three things the government should be very much aware of. The NPP itself, because it's a group of many organizations. So some concerns given by any parties will challenge the other stakeholders as well. Now, for an example, when the JVP General Secretary stated there will be no, we have to see more than provincial councils, then the northern and the central part of the Tamil community or minority community little bit got disturbed. So we have to secure the NPP. Not only just to harp on these petty issues such as this medias, this misstatements or this doctorate issues. More than that, there are a lot of things, because these 159 MPs are being elected on more expectation by the people. It is not only the expectation, it is the guarantee for the younger generation who are newcomers to the politics. Okay, if he can do, I can do. I can also do. So that confidence. So they have to secure that. Second, our economic and taxation policies. Economic policies, we have plenty of things they need to do, and taxation also. You can every citizen of this country, should come on this tax cover. You can't leave one group of people and give indirect tax to them and tax the other. We should have a safe ground for everyone. So the taxation policy and the economic policy, we are evidential that we have seen because of the bad economic policies. We are discussing about this downfall and the bankruptcy. And we also should keep in mind, we have got a grace period up until 2028. We have not come fully from the bankruptcy situation. And the third, geopolitical and international relations. Those are very important structures. Since all are talked about Indian diplomacy, before Andhra Kumar Dissanayaka became the president, India invited them, JVP representatives to India. They gave the all these years on JVP or AKD, all the barriers which were comments were given, they don't have international relation or global relations.
Very quickly.
But India gave a confidence to the people on the world, okay, we are accepting them. So now, India being a 4.3 trillion economy, we have to work with them whether we like it or not. And also, honorable parliamentarian here, she pointed out that we are having a very open policies to that. So yes, and finally, 1 minute,
Very quickly,
because 1 minute, regarding our Tamil rights, people from north, people from central, all supported the government with a huge expectation. Their expectation and their rights will be upheld in this government.
Okay.
So I think the provincial council elections or whatever the constitutional changes should make, and also regarding the land rights for the upcountry Tamils should be empowered and ensured by the President and the Prime Minister.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, Barath Arullsamy, Vice President of the DPF. I now move my attention towards Neomal Perera from the SJB, but again, I want to give you an opportunity to do a quick Q&A about certain issues that I saw that you mentioned, Neomal. Neomal, you said about coconut. What is your involvement with coconut, if I may ask? Because you said that you know about the coconut cultivation much better. Henceforth, you know exactly the prices are going to go up to around 250 rupees. So I just want to ask you, what is your affiliation?
All this time, there are 7 to 8 organizations in the coconut sector, growers to husk manufacturers, briquetting and various so on and so forth, milk, virgin coconut oil, desiccated coconut milk powder, like that.
Yeah, but what is your affiliation? How do you know that?
I'm in the coconut, Ceylon Coconut Cultivation in the institute.
Right.
I'm one of the members out of the 7. I'm the president of the DC Millers Association for several years since I left politics.
Right. So,
basically, the coconut growth and coconut in the industry is unfairly treated. Like for instance, we need 4.5 billion coconuts in this country. We are a country that we were exporting coconuts from Sri Lanka abroad. We never imported coconut oil till late 80s. It's after that we started importing coconut oil. Now we are importing about 2 billion equivalent coconuts in terms of oil. So we have a huge shortage of coconuts in the country, and we saw this coming as fertilizer, then various other insects, white fly disease and various. It was coming. It never came overnight. But there are dealers different caliber who has 1 million coconuts, some of them, say 100, 200 of them. There are dealers who have 2 million coconuts. I'm talking about green nuts who collect. You need them. You can't do without them, because certain growers, 5 acres, 2 acres, 1 acre, half acre, they do collection. So there are people who need money following day, other day they pluck. So there are people who are collecting.
So I just want to ask you, Neomal, what is this?
We have these statistics.
Yeah, monkey business.
No, monkey.
What is monkey issue? Just tell us, because
this monkey issue, monkeys, under the flora and fauna, you can't shoot these monkeys. Like that, peacocks. They are coming even to Colombo. Like that, there is a issue. But if you look at pigs, when there is a excess of pigs, even in Australia with the kangaroos, if there is excess of certain animal, there is a control.
Yeah, but
so
I shoot down, no?
Now you can shoot. Yeah, recently it was allowed. So similarly, I think they should be controlled. Because they need to be there, but any animal, if they are growing overpopulated, that to be controlled. There are measures that you can control. So it is not monkeys that rose the coconut price, it doubled within a month. So
but there's some destruction that is.
There is a destruction. There is a destruction happening by them, not due after AKD came, President came, that price went up. That is purely because of mismanagement.
Yeah, but you can't just point the finger at.
And present government, yes, I am doing it.
You are pointing the finger at.
Yeah, definitely. Nowhere in the world it has gone up 100% within 1 month. Nowhere in the world. So that is because these dealers are controlling. It's very simple. You can control the price without any problem. So a few years ago, when there was a shortage, we requested the government to import coconut kernel or coconut allied products like coconut oil, reduce the duty, or coconut chips. Because already there is an industry in this country, coconut oil millers. They don't have produce. They don't have the coconuts to manufacture oil. So instead, if they are given the chips, dried coconuts in pieces, fumigated and brought to Colombo, brought to Sri Lanka, then these factories will start operating. Already machines are in place, and there is no issue. Right now, $872 million were exported last year, approximately that amount, but quantity was less. Previous year, quantity was more. Similarly, we were able to export $872 million. This can be increased to, it can be doubled within 1 year. You have to, because we waste your house, any house that we grade coconuts in houses, we waste about 40% of the coconut we waste. You take the shell, activated carbon you can recover. You take the paring, you can recover oil out of it. The highest percentage of oil in the coconut is in the paring. Then the water you are throwing in the house. Then the remnant of the milk, the polkudu, you say polkudu, remnant of the coconut, what you squeeze, is exported from as low-fat desiccated coconut. So over 200 rupees government can recover. We are using 2 billion coconuts as for consumption. So if that is diverted to the industry, existing factory owners, people will have employment as well as machineries are in place. There is no need to ask new factory owners to come. So there is already a 18% tax on imported on the local oil manufactured. Oil millers are suffering because imported oil is coming without any VAT. So then the soap industry. These are big industries, the cottage industries. They can reduce, they are charging tax VAT on these items. So this should be reduced. And you can increase the duty of oil to keep whatever, if the government decides they have to, certain oil price have to be maintained or certain coconut price to be maintained. If they want 120 rupees, 150 rupees corn to grow because growers fertilizer cost has gone up. If the estate owner wants 150 rupees, let them have 150. But control the price. Even today you can bring the coconut price throughout the average 150 rupees can be given. But next month I am seeing coconut price every week going up by 5 rupees a kilo. So this is the information, my experience with this position.
So that's it's better to share experiences on a platform like this so we all are able to understand the industries that you all represent. So 2025, how do you view 2025?
2025, we didn't expect such a majority. I don't think even NPP expected such a majority for them to come to power. Basically, people were deprived and pushed against the wall. If you look at last 100 days, last 2-3 months, whatever, since they are in power, pawning has increased. Electricity bills have been cut in the houses. Numbers you can get from our right to information. You can get this information. Then you increase the cost of living and you give some peanut 6,000 rupees to people as doles. So these are being mismanaged. This is what we are trying to tell. We don't want to topple the government. They have got a big mandate. We are happy to work with the government. But please make sure what you told is given to the people. We didn't want to lie. We didn't want to mislead people. We did not mislead people. We are the people who told that Rajapaksa, 4, 5 of them their decision brought this country to bankruptcy. So similarly, we didn't tell that we can give you electricity at one third the price. We will bring all these we want corrupt politicians, corrupt officers, corrupt businessmen brought to book. So we need it being done, not talk about it. You don't need having 2/3 majority to discuss with other party leaders to bring law and order and transparency or have a audit in certain government institutions. There are so much of information available with them and with the people who, if only confidence, that they give confidence to the Sri Lankan people that they are prepared to come and give all the information that the government or courts require. So they are by doing that, the investors will come to Sri Lanka. Investment will come to Sri Lanka. Although we have nothing to offer, even if we give, even if they offer 20 years of tax-free holiday, nobody's going to come and invest unless there is confidence of transparency, accountability, and auditing, and so on and so forth. Let's talk about the past subsequently. Do it from now. Prevent corruption not happening in the future. I mean, that is happening today. We are not to my knowledge, but it may be happening somewhere.
Thank you very much, Neomal Perera from the SJ.
Yeah, and also give me time to greet the people and wish them all the very best for 2025. I would like to see that the people be benefited by all the promises that NPP have given them because they have got a huge mandate. So please, I wish God gives them strength to give the people what they have promised, to deliver to what the promises were.
Thanks a lot, Neomal. I now move my attention towards Lakmali Hemachandra. Lakmali, very quickly, before you sum up and wrap up your thoughts as the government representative on the panel today. What is the position of the NPP with regard to the 13th Amendment to the Constitution? Because this is something that has been discussed very much at length. If you look at the voting in the entire country, the NPP were able to gain a resounding majority in almost all the districts apart from Batiklo. So I just want to understand 13th Amendment to the Constitution and finding a lasting solution to the ethnic issue in the country. What is the position of the NPP?
Our position is that we are not going to remove any of the, at the moment, there is no plan to remove any of the rights conferred on the people under the 13th Amendment, right? Because we believe, as much as we have criticisms against the 13th Amendment from its inception, definitely people from the North and East, especially people from the North, believe it to be a solution to some of their problems, and we do not want to, we don't want to remove those rights away from those people, right? But we also think that we need a fresh constitution, and that has to be done consultatively. And we are going to take forward the 2015-2019 constitution making process forward and add on to it and make sure that everybody's rights are protected.
So the ethnic issue per se, like the wounds that were left behind by the conflict that ended in 2009, do you all intend to address any of those issues? Because even at the UN human rights sessions in Geneva, these are being discussed very openly. I just want to know the position of the party.
So we have already, the Office of Missing Persons is already there, and we have activated that. That will be, that the task of, locating missing persons and all of that, and all of those complaints can be processed through that office. And we are not denying any of, there were governments who denied that there were enforced disappearances and so on. We do not deny that. We are very open to investigations and so on, but we are not, our position is that we will not allow international investigations in Sri Lanka. But are
you all of the opinion that the forces in Sri Lanka committed war crimes, which is one of the allegations leveled at the Sri Lankan
Those have to
forces?
be investigated and established, right? Those have to be investigated and established.
Right. So, summing up, in conclusion, big boots.
If the enforced disappearances is a war crime.
Right.
Yeah.
So big boots right now you all are wearing. I think you all are trying to punch above your weight as well, because most of the problems that you all envisaged is now turning out to be even far bigger problems as the country is progressing. A monkey business, a rice issue, a salt problem, issues that
I'll tell you, Shamir, what's happening here.
Yeah.
I think previously, under previous governments.
So you can sum up as well, wrap up as well.
Okay, right. Okay, so there was an ideological cover each government had to suppress these issues, right? How come rice is only talked about to this extent under this government? How come monkeys are only talked about to this extent under this government, right? I'm not against it. I'm very pro these discussions because I believe these are real problems that people face on the ground, and media space should be completely devoted to those discussions on, right? What happened previously was, whenever there was a real problem that people felt, whether it's the rice shortages, whether it's agricultural issues, whatever, right? Whether it's the floods, what happens is there is some kind of divisive politics being used to make sure that people are distracted, that the government responsibility is being averted, right? That's why I think media also played into those agendas at those times. So we had Tamil people being targeted, Muslim people being targeted, women being targeted, LGBTQ community being targeted. We had this divisive politics being played to make sure that people are not really talking about these real problems. We don't have that problem. We think that talking about the rice shortage, as much as it is, we also need to hear these things, no? We also need to see this in the news. We also need to hear the criticisms, and I don't think it's bad for the government to know that there's a rice shortage. It's not bad for the government to know that there is a monkey problem in the country. That is, the government has to know that, right? And especially because we don't have local governments and provincial governments functioning right now, the central government has to know this. That is the only way that decisions can be taken. So we are not against criticism. We welcome all this criticism. And we are not putting forward any ideological covers. We are not distracting people from these problems. What we do not allow is, I think Barath was very right to say that we have a historical chance in Sri Lanka to take to, and as you also said, ethnic relations have to be, not reformed, restored in Sri Lanka, right? There was for a long time we had a problem of ethnic divisions and religious divisions.
Right.
That has to be restored, and we will not allow any sort of misinformation, fake news on that ground. Apart from that, any other discussion that happens in the media, in the parliament, on the ground, we welcome all those discussions, because for a government that's people-centered, criticism is not a problem. That's somewhere we get information and we learn, right? I think for 2025, our main target is, as I said, economic inclusion. During the past crisis, we have a strong stability discourse going on, but so many sectors of the people, so many parts of our community were left out of the whole economic process, right? So workers, as Mr. Bopage was saying, workers, farmers, SME producers, all of these people, women, especially women, were basically left out of the economy. So one of the main things that we have to do as a government is to make sure that they are included.
Right.
So all of these dolls, as Mr. Neomal was labeling them, is also to make sure that, there are children dropping out of schools. We accept that this is not a complete solution, but we have to stop children from dropping out of schools. We have to make sure that infants are given nutritious food, right? Young children are given nutritious food. So this level of inclusion is what we need to do, and our budget will also focus on that. That is the expectation, that's the main expectation I personally have from the government as an MP, and also that is the vision of the government for the next year as well.
Right. Thanks a lot, Lakmali. All our eyes are going to be on the government as we progress into yet another year.
We welcome those eyes.
So the budget also is going to be a key factor. We look forward to inviting NPP. Why do you look at me, Nilesh, when I say we look forward to inviting NPP? You look a bit skeptic.
Looking forward to get a new vehicle.
Just wondering, Shamir, are you getting a new vehicle? Because I'm not.
At a reasonable price.
Looking forward to the budget.
Looking forward for the budget. Looking forward for the budget indeed. Thank you very much, Lakmali Hemachandra from the NPP. She's a member of Parliament. Thank you very much, Neomal Perera from the SJB. One-time Deputy Foreign Minister of Sri Lanka. Thank you very much, Barath Arullsamy, Vice President of the DPF. I hope this is your last stay in a political party, Barath, as Vice President, and then you can climb the ladder to become the leader of the political party. Not like the CWC, no? I told you, Barath, I don't know whether you remember, I told you when you came here a long time ago, that you will never be the leader of the CWC. You said, no, I will have a chance. It's a very progressive party.
2025,
have you changed now?
No, 2025, we are talking about future.
Thank you very much, Barath Arullsamy, Vice President of the DPF. It was a newly made appointment, right, Barath? Thank you very much, Attorney at Law Nuwan Bopage from the People's Struggle Alliance. Nuwan has always been on the show and expressed his views very vocally. Sometimes, Lakmali, Nuwan is a little bit extrinsic in his thoughts, but it's all done with the objective of the people, right?
I think all criticism is.
Yeah, so I know Nuwan is very passionate about people's aspirations. He's been a front runner. Even from the Mitramul garbage dump, that's how he came to the limelight. As far as the politician is concerned, he's been campaigning. So it's all taken in the right light. So he's done a lot of work as a politician as well. So thank you very much, Dimitra Abeysekara from the LSSP. Dimitra, we've known a couple of months ago, right?
Yes,
Dimitra?
yes.
So I look forward to inviting you on many shows.
I don't.
I look forward to seeing you
from the
LSP, and I think Dimitra, there has to be change in your political party as well. I think it's important to see that new vigor, new change, and that new restructuring that comes into play. And people like you are well recognized within the political ranks. And you never know, Dimitra may be in Parliament in a couple of years from now. So looking forward for that, Dimitra. And we'll be on this side asking questions. or Vice President of LSSP?
Who knows?
We'll be delighted to ask questions from you from this side of the table and get the best out of you.
I'd be lying if I said I'm delightedly looking forward.
Thank you very much,
thank you for having us.
Srihar. Thank you very much, Niresh, for joining us this evening on the show. Thank you very much, gentlemen. It's the 1st of January. You have a lot of other work as well, but coming on the show tonight and telling the people about what your aspirations are for the country is very important. And we learned a lot, and we hope for the best as far as Sri Lanka is concerned. 2025 is going to be a decisive year for the country. I leave you tonight with a quote, as I always do, while wishing you a very, very happy New Year. Let us learn from the past to profit by the present, and from the present to live better in the future. Take care and good night.